25 months, let's fucking guru. Sarah's 18, thumbs up cat.
Hi, hi. Shut up. Okay, Bob David outdoors. Okay, not that much. Hello, hi, welcome. I still sound like shit. Hamilton. Hamilton. Huh? Hamilton. Hello, hello, hi, welcome. I love the winner today is Doc. I didn't fucking take my vitamins and I put my headphones on. Fuck. We'll deal with that in a moment. Anyways, hello. Hi, welcome. Dude, I've been fucking going through it. I have a perpetual cough that I cannot get rid of. Hello, hi, welcome. This is the first time I'm looking like a human in a while. I unintentionally have gotten a severe ab workout because of how much coughing I have been doing. I don't know. I had the flu. Whoa. The kissing disease. That's so funny to me. No, I cough like a sad Victorian child. But no, I just had the flu, but it gave me a sore throat, which is what I had the Wednesday when I was playing Outlast Trials. I can't think. Okay. Okay. I had to turn down the music just a little bit. But I just had the flu, but it gave me a really bad sore throat. And I still have the sore throat. Like my throat is still swollen and red. And it still fucking hurts. Oh, why thank you. I'm glad I do, at least, because I've been sounding like this since since Wednesday. Except I be coughing like a sad Victorian child, and every once in a while I get hit with the you're coughing so bad you almost throw up. So those ones suck. I had that last night when I was going to bed. I just smashed it. What the fuck do you mean you smashed it? Also, I'm on so much medication. I should probably take a Dayquil, but nothing else is too bad right now, so I won't. Anyways, hello, Doc. Hello, Kai. Also, Doc, thank you for 25 months, and Kai, thank you for 22 months. Hello, Junior, and I think that's it right now for everybody's here. I haven't been streaming in a while, so I don't expect anybody to show up. Six pack. No joke, Junior. I genuinely mean that, because like the coughs that I be letting out. Did I see Turnip?
Turnip is
Turnip
also
is.
here.
I scrolled so fast. Hello, Turnip. I hope you've been well. It's because I looked at the rolls and then I scrolled. I don't want this song anymore. It's about to end. Yeah, I don't want King's Dopamine. Yes. Dying. Me too, brother. Me too, brother in Christ. But yeah, your back pain, Guy. I'll eat it. That's all I can offer. I would offer you medicine, but unfortunately, my medicine will not deal with anything with that.
Sarah, I know if you ain't out of bed or and get back in your bed, oh my God.
I've been out of bed for days, okay? Hello, Sap. Tarshi? I kind of want to call you Tarshi. Anyways, welcome in. Hello. Howdy, Gothic. I've been. You get to hear my my sad Victorian cough now, B. I do need to drink my tea. I've been living off of tea. I haven't had coffee in fucking days, which is perfectly fine. Sap is it is okay. Sap it is. I haven't had coffee in days, but I've been living off of so much tea and so much honey. You would think, oh, you must be eating a little bit better because you've been sick. The amount of sugar intake I have had because of honey. Can we get a boo her back to bed? I haven't even been in bed. Be on my computer anyways. Like, honey, I love honey. It is wonderful. I haven't had it in a while, truth be told, because I've been drinking more coffee than tea. But I've been drinking a lot of tea now. I also still can't, my throat is so swollen on one side that I can't swallow properly, and it fucking hurts. It doesn't hurt as bad as, over the weekend. Just kidding. It kind of does. What has happened? Welcome, Steve. I got sick last week. Essentially, I was kind of sick on Wednesday last week, so it's been a full week. But Thursday is when it hit. I literally went to bed, woke up at 3 a.m. with 102 fever. And ever since then, my fever, I think, went away like Saturday-ish. But I've been coughing like a sad Victorian child. Jordy sent me a fucking clip when we were all playing Deadlock. And I was coughing so bad, and I had a coughing fit where like the back of my throat, or like the top of, I don't know what it was. It made it like a disgusting taste. And then I just start coughing and coughing. It's like when you get a tickle in the back of your throat, except it's like a taste for me. I don't know what it is, but I'm like coughing and coughing. And we're at the end of a Deadlock match, and he just said, "Shut the fuck up." And he's like, "Just kidding." But I was actually fucking dying. I had him mute at some point too during that. And it wasn't even that he said that. I was actually, I started dry heaving. I was coughing so badly. Anyways, thank you, Quiet. For the most part, I'm better. Tylenol Advil. I love that at the end of that, doc. Yeah, I just thought my throat was just sore. And it was kind of scratchy. It still feels as same as it was when I said that my throat was sore. So my throat literally has not improved at all. Pretty serious? How many days of that? Just one. My body likes to do that I get sick very severely, very fast, and then it's gone. Because my fever never reached over 100 the rest of the time. It was literally 3 a.m. I woke up and I literally woke up. I was like drenched in sweat. My head was like, when you have such a high fever, your head starts to hurt and like throb because it's boiling. I was boiling my brains. But I woke up and I lay there for a little bit. I was like, this is not normal. I have a fever. This is not normal. And so I got up eventually after like 10 minutes of laying there, just like, I gotta do it. I just gotta get up. Let's go to the bathroom. I gotta go to the bathroom anyways, and I'll get the thermometer because they're both in there. And I got in there, got my thermometers because I have two thermometers. I have an old thermometer, and I have an electric thermometer that I got from Disney when I first went back during COVID. Very handy. Sometimes it's a little wonky and I don't trust it, but sometimes I do. Anyways, took my temperature, laid back down, took my temperature, and it said 102, and I laid there for another second like, well, damn. That's not good. So I got my ass back up, waddled to the bathroom. And while I did that, I grabbed a towel, put it in the sink, and because you put a little cool towel on you, I did that. And then at the same time, my brother was going on a trip the next day with his girlfriend, and they were over. Obviously, they were sleeping at this point, and I was like, there ain't no way I'm getting them sick. So I pulled out that disinfectant wipe, and I started wiping down everything. I started cleaning everything as I have 102 fever because I'm like, I'm not going to get them sick. I was wiping down the door handles and everything, even my door handles and everything. And then I did the hardest trek of my life. I had to walk to my mom's room. I did, in fact, hit her fan over, and I scared the shit out of her because it woke her up, and she was like, damn, cats. And then I was there by her bedside. She was like, whoa. And I was like, I don't feel good. I have 102 fever. Which she prescribed me normal medicine, which I could have got myself, but I felt like telling somebody that I was ill. Bye, doc. Good luck. Good luck. You're resting your voice. I've been resting my voice. Steve, I'm so bored. I don't even have to like drive or energy for stream in the sense of like, I'm so bored. I want to go do acting stuff. I was looking at stuff for mocap classes, but I can't go out there and take classes. I'm stuck at home. Mom, I flew up. I literally pulled a mom, I flew up. Anyways, doc, take care of yourself. Okay? But I haven't had a fever since. It's really just my throat and my coughing, which I did learn. My coughing is mainly trapped air in my lung. So it's the CO2 buildup in my lung, and my lungs are like they're too weak to like get out all the air. So then I cough it out. At least I hope. I hope it's that. If not, either way, I'm on a lot of medicine right now because of my cough, because it will not fucking go away. It was so bad I didn't fall asleep for 2 hours one night, and I had to take coughing medicine to stop the coughing because I just couldn't fall asleep because every second it was just it was that 2 hours. I didn't go to bed until 2 a.m. What I have sometimes, never thought to look into it. Getting more to this CO2 okay, so what I've learned, Steve, now this is how do you fix the air buildup? You need to strengthen your lungs. That's the moral of it. I would prescribe go to the doctors because you can get an inhaler right now. I'm on 2 inhalers. I have not gone to the doctors, but I've been dealing with asthma for so long, and my mom is a nurse, and she's been dealing with my asthma. She's been dealing with my ass for so many years. She knows different things to do it, but like I was asking her one day, I was like, "Why am I coughing?" And she was like, "It sounds like the type of cough that I have is just like a random spurt of cough like that, rather than like it's not my mucus cough, which I have my mucus cough sometimes is when I'm coughing up. You cough up all the mucus from your lungs and you're coughing that up. Inhaler, I hardly know her. You're telling me, Junior. You're telling me. Also, I didn't do Doc's roll. I'll do that in a second after the story. But it is just like the trap air because I think she was explaining it because I was like, okay, but why cough? She was like, it's trapped air. I was like, why is air trapped? Why is air trapped? Like what I've had lately, I thought it was just allergies, which I could have picked up something for. Oh, true. Won't lie, you could have, because I know for a fact that's where I've gotten sick. And Shaylin, I haven't even texted people back in a couple of days. I really got to. The last message I got from Shaylin was her saying, "I'm sorry," and then I died. I didn't respond. But she had something similar. So there's been stuff going around with like sore throats. Like really bad sore throats, the kind of what I have. With the flu. So it could have been. Kids are disgusting. And with that, I parry it with parents are disgusting because why are you bringing your sick children to the parks? I know it's expensive and you don't want to refund it, but like, I don't want to get sick. But for me, especially with a trapped air, whatever my mom said, it just basically explained that your lungs too weak to like squeeze out the air because it's so tight already. So it struggles getting out the rest of the air that you breathed in. So I'm on 2 different inhalers. And we're going to see how long this cough lasts because I have a doctor's appointment on Tuesday. So I'm hoping it lasts till Tuesday. So I got to have him look at it. If not, I'm going to show up and look like a dumbass. I'm like, well, the cough stopped. I love you, Nikki. Thank you for 62 months. I love you. As long as I will have to do this, yes. You can take stuff to help it. I didn't know that this was trapped air because, you know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I don't know this. So then my mom was hearing it, and I was having such a bad coughing fit one of the mornings, and she just walked and she was like, "Did you take your inhaler?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Take your inhaler." I was like, "Okay. Okay. Love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much, Nikki. I love you so much." Anyway, so yeah, I have the sad Victorian cough because of it. I still am not taking my vitamins, but I have 2 more vitamins I need to take, and they're outside of my room, so I'm not gonna worry about it right now. Sounds cool? Yeah, she's pretty damn cool. She's pretty damn cool. She's the whole reason I'm into cats. And arcade games. Mom is great. Mom is wonderful. Kai, I'm gonna do your roll. It should be... Okay, it's fine. You have a good mental health. You have 14, 5, and 9 because of your fucking back. Junior? 4, 17, and 10. The 4 is because you have to leave us, but overall you've been doing well. Doc's gone though. 12, 14, 8. 8 because he had to fucking leave. Oh my god. It's swinging big dick energy. Haunted? You know, I didn't say your name when I did this. Okay, I'm doing Haunted's roll. Okay, yeah, you know, okay, they say fuck me. You got a 19, 8, and then a 2. So hopefully you're doing well, Haunted. I've missed you. I've missed you all dearly. I don't even know if Sap, our new welcomer in our new welcome, our new body here. I don't even know if they lasted through all that yap. Fortune says a sudden reward will follow your next kind act of kindness. Well, I hope you do an act of kindness then. You'll get a reward. Good food? But my back is killing me so much to the point I don't know if I can eat. Oh no, I know that type of pain. Not specifically with the back, but like you hit a point and it's like, I crave food so much, but if I take a single bite of this, I'm going to throw it up. So yes. Going to chop my hair off? I love... But... She can't just do that to me. Hold on.
I'm here. I was fucking numbing, but I'm here. I hope y'all are having a great day. I'm not, but I missed y'all, and y'all make life better. How you doing?
You can't just say she's gonna chop off her hair and then leave. I want to know the vision. I want to know the vision. The vision. Sorry, I am dying. Every once in a while, it's actual mucus cough, and that's disgusting. And I know for a fact during this stream, I will start probably really badly coughing. And it's nothing against talking, because I've been talking the past few days because I've been playing games with friends because I have nothing else to do. I don't know why I became the joker there. Hi, Fire. I can say, don't cough badly. I don't want to. I genuinely hate those coughs, and I sit there. Okay, I did have a really bad cough the other night because it was the same like coughing fit, and I unfortunately had chugged water too at the same time, and so is this awful, ungodly noise that came out of my throat because there was air bubbles in between where the water was, so it almost sounded like I was going to throw up, but it was just this bubbling noise that came out of me. Awful. Anyways, I hope you all well. Recently, I've been playing. I've been catching up on some of my Warframe things. So I've been playing a little bit of Warframe, farming and that. But I've been playing Deadlock. I've been playing Resident Evil Requiem off stream a little bit, every once in a while. But other than that, it's been Deadlock and a little bit of Overwatch, because I kind of wanted to play that. I was supposed to have Baldur's Gate night yesterday, and I somehow infected my entire friend group, and I was like, hey, I love Deadlock. I just want to play Deadlock. Like, I want to play Deadlock at all times. Like, it's no big deal. And they're like, so you want to play Deadlock? And we all played Deadlock instead. It was very funny. So we did not have Baldur's Gate night yesterday. We had Deadlock night. Hell earlier, but we'll live. It be that way, haunted. But yeah, I've just been playing that. I haven't played Requiem. The plan is to get it late, early June. That's fair. Honestly, that's good timing. It's definitely worth the purchase. It's just when you can purchase it, then get it. It's game maintenance. Enjoy away from home. That's good. I'm glad to hear that, Fire. I know it's something good to keep your mind off of other things. Because free coffee. Oh, hell yeah. Free coffee. Yeah. I would say, hell yeah, welcome to the party. I'm back on tea because I'm sick. So I'm a fucking liar. On top of what is this? On top of playing games while I'm sick, I've also been watching through new things. So I have watched through okay, I saw Project Hail Mary. That's good. That's the only like where's my activity? Is this my activity? Me. Yeah. Okay. I think it's only been 3 movies in the past like 3 days, 2-ish days. I watched Thrash, which is a new Netflix movie. It's about sharks and a really big storm. Category 5 hurricane hits, and then there's sharks. Stupidest movie ever. I think they're leading up to another movie. Like, there is literally no point of this movie. It's not even the point of like I don't know. It's just really stupid. But it was really fun. Like it's a very short movie, so I say it's worth a watch. There was just no point of it, but like I still had a really fun time. I put it on while I was playing games, so that type of movie I love to watch while I'm doing other stuff because I don't really want to fully pay attention. But like the cast did fine. There was just like, I mean, it's not a spoiler for the end, because it's like a little end bit at the end. The man looks at the computer and it looks like a second wave of the second hurricane is about to hit. It looks like a second part of the hurricane is coming, so it kind of feels like it's setting up for another one, which in my mind would make more sense because there was no plot. I don't think there needed to be a plot, but yeah, it was still really fun. I think it was very well done. The sharks were really fun. I love sharks, so it was very fun. Yes, it is. Oh god, what is the name of it? Not LaCroix. Let me look it up. I forget the man's name. What's that man's name? God, I love that mummy. There we go. There his name is. Welcome in. Welcome in, Baz. Sorry, I'm a little sick. I've been sick since last week, but we're talking about movies now, actually. But welcome in. Lacronis the Mummy. I am very excited about it. It is a horror one, so it's nothing to do with the Mummy. But it seemed very interesting, but also very stupid, because I'm sorry. If you found your daughter who's been missing in a fucking coffin, and she looks like that, and you say, no, we gotta take her home after she's only been in their care for like, maybe seems like 2 days. Even a week. Even a month. I'm not taking that thing home. That's quiet how it goes. I'll probably try to see it. I know I'm busy this weekend though, because I have work. The word shark, I knew this was the place. I do love sharks. We were talking about the new movie that came out, Thrash. Very stupid movie. But like it was really fun. And I love sharks. I know they're eating the people in that, but like it was still really fun. But like overall, Steve, a fun little watch. It's not terrible. It's not like really shitty. It was good quality movie. There was just like no plot. Like there was no purpose for it. It just happened. But it was pretty banger. You know, those little adopted kids that were in it, their little story is quite funny and cute. The video on the time zones? Tamagotchi Live! No, Haunted, that's real as hell. That's fair. Downsides, I need to wake up at 5:30. Ooh, 5:30 a.m. wake up call always sucks when you're not used to it. Ticket to go see it? Ooh! Oh, but then you have to report back to us, quite. That's gonna be exciting. I do want to go see it. So hopefully it's good. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a good horror movie. For the new Mummy movie? I feel like the recent horror has been pretty. It really has been. Okay. I was about to pop off about horror movies. One, okay, the 2 other movies I watched was Glass Onion because I just hadn't watched it. Knives Out, Glass Onion, just never got around to watching it, and I wanted to watch the 3rd one. Haven't watched that one yet, but I was like, let me watch the 2nd one. So I watched that one. Funny, not as good as the 1st. But then I watched Annihilation because I never actually fully got around to watching that. I'm pissed off at it now because now I'm just confused and I want answers, so I might have to read the books. That's my conclusion of that one. Now I might just have to read the books because he came out with a new book in 2024. Fire, your roll is 8, 5, and 9. So you're just a little tired, but you're doing good. I'm trying to think of like the recent horror movies. I saw I haven't heard this song in so long. Tarchu. I do like this song. Oh yeah, I've actually been watching a lot of horror movies. I'm really sad about the Return to Silent Hill because that one was just shit. But the way they did the monsters and how they actually visually turned out was really good. And so I'm upset about that because they put time and effort to how the monsters looked and I loved it. Movie and plot and everything else, shit. I did love Weapons, and I'm very excited about Weapons. That's why I had to calm myself down, because there has been a lot of news about the Resident Evil movie coming out, who is the same director that did Weapons, and I loved Weapons and Barbarian. Barbarian's very silly, funny, but still very good horror. He has a good balance of, like, really scary, and then he's like, hee hee ha ha. Literally the vibes of it. Oh no, I need to drink water. I really want to read Apothecary Diaries. I watched the 2 seasons, and it's really good. I love the animation for it. It's really pretty. Waiting a silent, should I watch it? Honestly, for the shits and giggles, I feel like you should watch it because it is so bad. I need somebody else to see it. Because then also you're gonna tell me that's the fucking ending? Where it's like, it ended with like an ending to the game where you can get where he leaves, where he drives into the ocean or the water, all the other different endings, and then whatever said ending, and then just he wakes up and to the day he ran into Mary and like whatever they set up in that movie. Huh? Very weird. The monsters look really good. I don't like how they did the nurses, but that's that's bias to my opinion of them. I really like the bubble head of how they looked in the remake. Mwah. Wonderful. But for the movies, they keep on going with the wrapped head, which I get is easier, probably easier to do. But they still did a good job. They didn't really get that too much. Thanks, Sarah. You're welcome. It's a piece of shit movie. You should watch it. No, you should watch it and do a drinking game or something with it. Because like I cannot express to you how awful that movie was. It's fucking awful. Because like big Resident Evil fan. Oh, speaking of big Resident Evil fan, it'll lead into what I'm talking about. I still love Welcome to Raccoon City. That was a shitty fucking movie. I don't know who in their right minds thought combining 1 and 2 of the games for Resident Evil was a good idea. Why not 2 and 3? You know, just a poor choice in their part. I don't know why they picked those two. It was very campy and not the best, but it was still really fun. That was better than the Silent Hill movie. Until Dawn, which ended up not even being Until Dawn, still turned out to be a really good horror movie. Very campy, so very mid horror movie. Was better than Silent Hill. Which also, Welcome to Raccoon City, if no one has ever seen it, it is on Disney Plus now, and I'm going to be watching that over and over again. I love that movie so much. One man ever should, as you should, Haunted, as you should. But speaking of the Resident Evil movies, Weapons, love that director. There's been really good talk about the Resident Evil movie he is doing. It's not following any of our like main characters from the game. It's a separate character, but it's following along the Resident Evil storyline. So I'm very intrigued and very interested. And people for the first preview of it really liked it. So Resident Evil movies, they're never online. How am I said onside? Online at the same time. A comic shop. Ooh, good luck comic shopping for whatever you're looking for. Have a good day, and thank you. I will. I haven't been to a comic shop in so long. I do like this song. I'm gonna calm myself down about that. Have my little cough drop. But I hate that the Alice franchise for Resident Evil is never online at the same time. But if you have Disney Plus, or if you have somebody who hasn't, you can rob them, you know. Take their Disney Plus. Welcome to Raccoon City is on there. I'm about 5 series on the go. No, real as how. I need to catch up on my manga. My romance one. Where's my romance one? Oh, it's behind the mochi. I need to catch up on that. Haven't picked it up, even though I've been to the store multiple times and seen it. I will. Goku Rakuga has a new volume, and I need to pick that up. Anything else? I'm wondering if he will be a big deal. He somewhat is a big deal. Let me get what he has done, because I know him from Weapons and Barbarian. Oh my god. What is he from? Okay, wait. He's a funny guy. Zach Krieger. Yeah, Whitest Kids You Know. He's from Whitest Kids You Know. So he's very funny. Hee hee ha ha. But he's done Weapons, Barbarian, and then Companion. Those are probably his 3 big ones. And then Whitest Kids You Know. I'm gonna be honest, yeah. Hell yeah, you do. It's just so hard buying manga sometimes. What else have I seen? Oh man, I want to watch Iron Lung again. That was really good. But yeah, I've been on a movie craze because I'm like, I need to watch some new things, and I'm getting tired of just sitting here and playing games, so I started watching movies. I also started a TV show, which is High Potential. I've been wanting to watch that for a while. And it was on Disney Plus, so I said, oh, okay, let's start that. It somewhat reminds me of Lucifer. Don't know why, but it does. It's not supernatural related at all. Let me do your roll, Turnham. Got 13, 19, and a 3. A manga is a series of 12 volumes for some reason. Like 3 out of 12 you can't find. They're random volumes. Yeah. My store never has,
I love you. Thank you for being wonderful.
Thank you, Turnip. I love you too. My biggest pet peeve, quiet, is with Blue Exorcist because it's been out for so long. And it died down with popularity. So they don't really carry the volumes anymore. But the newest volumes, they will. So they have like 1, 2, 3. They have like 1 through 5 usually. And then they have 30. And 31, whatever is like newest now. And I'm like, I need the middle ones. I need the middle ones. And I say that. My Yuri. Oh my god, yeah. I feel like I don't actually see that one too much. Which is shocking. There's always like ones that are always stocked so well, and there's some that I'm like, why is this not stocked? What's a pain? The beginning of the song, that whole like portion haunts me because it reminds me of Silent Hill F, and I get like war flashbacks. So like it like fucks me up when I hear it. I'm like, Silent Hill? What are you doing here? Sorry, I'm dying in the moment. Yeah, it just reminds me of the same vibe as that. It hits like the same note of it too. That like, I'm trying to think of what portion of Silent Hill F. I think it's like whenever you go into the other world with the fox guy that you definitely shouldn't trust, but fortunately he's really hot, so I did. But it was very Silent Hill F. It was a Japanese group too, so it makes sense. But like, man, it just hit the notes perfectly though. I don't know how many songs are on this playlist. Oh my god. Oh, I do like this song. I'm really in between of what we should play today. Because I haven't really been playing that many options of games. Found no one hot in that game, thankfully, so I wasn't allowed to stray. I unfortunately was. But yeah, don't be like me. Don't trust anybody when you're in a Silent Hill game. Don't trust anybody. Don't be like me. Do better. I'm kind of thinking of just playing Deadlock. This week is gonna be nothing of according to schedule. I've kind of just been like drifting of what I want to actually stream. So yeah. Rocket rats, hell yeah. We love rats. I love rats. I did do an edit. I haven't finished my Grace edit because I kind of took a little bit break from it. Gravekeeper, ooh. And I want to play small horror games, but I miss playing them at night. Oh, it is. Gravekeeper is free. There was a new pirate game that came out. Oh, I was on it and then accidentally clicked the wrong button. Windrose. And I'm very intrigued about Windrose because I do like pirates. And it seems as though you can customize your pirate. And I really like customizing characters to fill my need of putting myself in a little pirate world. What is this? A PvE survival adventure. You was dead. Oh, I was like, what? Wee. But like, I don't know if I want that. I still sound like a Victorian child. Midnight. One guy says 5 a.m. I'll be up at midnight and then some. Oh, that's real for trying to figure out. Okay. That's fair, Haunted. That feels a character customization menu of a fantasy game. I even really wanted to play The Sims. And I think it's because I just want to build a house, because I have the craze to move out right now. I really want to move out, and I really want to build my house. But also, I've been wearing a Sims shirt the past couple of days because it's a free one I got from Twitch because it's really comfy. I love this song turnip. So then it's also been fueling my need to play The Sims. Jordy's telling me I'm dead. Sims t-shirt? Yes. It's in the laundry now. Because I've been wearing it for the past couple of days, just same with my mushroom pants, because I just wanted to be comfy. Is to get more next week. What does it look like? It is. I wonder if I could find it online. Sorry, I was responding to Jordy. I like locked in. Sims white t-shirt. It has the bunny on it. Sims Twitch Con t-shirt. I don't see it anywhere. I'll have to show it off. I'll wear it on stream sometime. It is really cute. It's green. I got the white one, so it's green and white mainly. But it has the bunny on it, and it has the money around it. I forget what it says. A comfy one. You have the blue, exactly. I'm getting yelled at by Jordy. I'm getting yelled at. Comfy clothes, the ones I stole from Quiet. Real as hell. So the Sim shirt is just comfy, and it's a nice material that is just like slightly cooling, so it's just nice. I think because it's like a box build. So it's not like form-fitting or anything, or even just like slightly close to your body. It's like a box. So it's nice. But it's a really cute design. I will have to show it sometime, because it is really nice, and I got it for free from TwitchCon. I also got a bag from TwitchCon from the Sims booth. I really like that. That is like my grocery bag. Yeah. I really yelled at. Man, I was thinking about what games to play. Where's my little thing? Oh, Nikki responded. Oh my god. Yay. Short hair with me. She is, Nikki is chopping off all hair. All hair? All hair. She's chopping off all hair. It's Friday, I think. Or Saturday. I'm just like fucked up, bro. Why'd you open Overwatch? Sorry, I was messaging Jordy and midway through, just Jordy is open Overwatch. I was like, I don't fucking open Overwatch. You into Metroidvanias at all? I've played some, not too much, but they're not bad. Comfy one, I really enjoyed. Oh, which one? I do like them. I just don't play them as much. I don't know. I think because I've been playing so many games recently that like I just feel Feel kind of drained. I don't know like what I want to play. Oh. So like even today, little Nemo. Ooh. Wow. Oh my god, I wonder if you would like what was it? Oh, it's Dad something. There is one that is about being a dad. And it's a little like old style game. Man, I don't remember what it's called, and my friend spoke it to me last night, so we didn't even write it down. Oh, Dad Quest. That's what it is, Dad Quest. Looks really cute. Oh, cute. I mean, the bosses are legit challenge. Oh, I like that. Oh, yeah, that's not how I spell that word. I forgot my U button doesn't work right. Let me retype that all. Hi, Drew. Hello. Let's roll. 4, 8, and a 19. Hopefully you're not sick like me. Or you can spell better than me. What was I spelling? Sundered. Eldrick. Oh, that one's cute. I like the style of art that one is. I feel like I just need to... I think we might just play Deadlock today. Sorry, the little voices spoke in my head in that mere moment. I was about to go off of like, I feel like I just need to find a good staple of like games to just play on stream and then work in horror every once in a while. And then the voices took over. It was like, Deadlock. The voices really just took over in that moment. I didn't get to play a proper Deadlock last night, so like, I wouldn't be upset about it because I was on Deadlock for 4 hours. I did a stream length of Deadlock matches last night. New game starts, but Deadlock. Yeah. Yeah, mate. Ooh, okay. I like the style of it. We also could play Slay the Spire, but I am bad at Slay the Spire. And also, I kind of like Slay the Spire with friends. Like, I like it alone, but it is really fun with friends, or at least, like... No, I like my normal group. It is really fun with friends. I like having other people with me for Slay the Spire. So, I would like to play that. But, I don't know. I want friends to play that. I won't play it alone. I think we might end up with just Deadlock while I'm dying. I also thought about playing Requiem or one of the other Resident Evils and doing a challenge run because I think I want to restart my Insanity run. But I don't think I want to struggle today because it is genuinely really hard because I was fucking up. And the day that I started my Insanity run, I was not playing well and I was not mentally okay. So then I was beating myself up about it and then I was playing even worse. So I think I'm going to start over that entire Insanity run, which I didn't make it far, so it's okay. Play Slay the Spire. It's really fun. I have the Slay the Spire too, specifically. It's really fun. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but luckily I play with friends to the point that, like, they teach me new things, and then I lock in on those things, and then I yell at them. I really like the person who I just played. What did I play? It's the one with shivs. I love them. They have the little skull mask. I just have a whole bunch of shivs in my pocket. I love shivs in my pocket. But it is really fun. I do recommend it quite. I don't know where it is, but I know for a fact I saw Warhammer stuff recently. And I think it was just on my TikTok or something. But I do still get Warhammer content every once in a while. Warhammer content is always delivered. Oh my god, shit, no, that's what actually, you're so right, quiet. Not even for Warhammer, but that's what I actually wanted to do. I might start it up, next week, but Resident Evil, posted, their Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, all their original 3 games on Steam. They're only $10 each. I got them when they were 2. Because they were on sale. But so we can play the original Resident Evil game, and they're all 3 of those, the originals of the 1, 2, and 3. Possible musical too. Ooh, okay. And so I'm really intrigued to do some Resident Evil runs in those. So I'm very excited for that. I just kind of forgot about that. I have so many more Resident Evil games now. Oh my god, Resident. Oh my god, there's fucking 18 of them in my inventory. I love that. Man, I was 2 years old when the second game came out. I wasn't even born when the first one came out. So it came out in 96. Man, we can play Alan Wake. I haven't heard that name in ages. How long have I been yapping? Okay, not that long. Where'd my cat go? She's under the covers, okay. Is she? I don't actually know. I think the coughing fit is summoning itself. So that's a little scary. I just say we deadlock and we yap. I'm gonna change the stream title if we deadlock, because this was a placeholder stream title. I would say we could draw, but I still don't have my iPad connected to my computer. And I say that as I've been saying that for years. Oopsie. But I have stuff that I'm drawing that I can't show. Hee. But also, what if I told you it was just more shrimps? What if I was just drawing more shrimps? I can't show you my shrimps. That's all my secrets. They hold my secrets. I can't reach my other slipper. I want you guys to know. It's too out of... Because it's nutty. It's just shrimps. It's not safe for work shrimp. That would be so funny. That is so fucking funny. Just like, no, my shrimps. It's the shrimps covering its little hands like that. I still do love my shrimp PNG that I made. I would like to make it a little bit better, and I think I'm going to, but like, for a shitty little sketch I did, and I literally sketched it and colored it the same day, so it's not good. I fucking love that little shit. It's a masterpiece. What should we name the stream? You know, I don't know how to draw people in. I did make a Deadlock TikTok. I didn't post it yet, but I did make it yesterday. That was by Cole, and I put all of my funny moments together in it. But like, man, what do I name a stream title? What do you think somebody would click on? What would you click on? Sad Victorian Child? Okay, Sad Victorian Chart. Can I speak? Victorian Child plays Deadlock. We'll just do that. Sad Victorian Child plays Deadlock. But yeah, what draws people in? Like, what would you click on a stream? Click on Tita? Tits. I'm like, you would click on your Tita? No, tits. Okay. See, that's why I don't even look at stream titles sometimes. Sometimes I just look at like what the thumbnail looks like. I won't lie, the Deadlock ones are very overwhelming because it's all Deadlock stuff. And it's kind of boring as fuck. No cap, no lie. I think that's why I do like VTubers a lot. because you can see somewhat of their personality. Obviously, it could be a fucking lie. Oh my god, all of the drama recently in some of the like streamer like community is so fucking funny. Hello, Goomber. Welcome. Car, you're in Florida? Sorry, Car. That was the mixed emotions of, oh my god, Car. Wait, Florida? You in Florida? Are you sick? I was sick last week and I'm having the repercussions of being sick. Going on my phone at work. It says, Tits, you know? Fair, Junior, fair. I do sound sickly. Overall, better. Body doesn't hurt anymore. Don't have chills. Don't have fever. Haven't had that since like Saturday, but like I've had a sore throat since last Wednesday, and I have a sad Victorian child cough. Just got over being sick too. Oh my god, what did Gar have? I caught the flu. Jordy keeps on saying I have COVID, and I need him to stop. It's gonna make me believe I have it. I'm like, no, I just had the flu. I was literally only sick for one day, but my sinuses will not stop. Okay, well, thank you. I have work this weekend, so I hope I get better. If not, I'm gonna just request to be in the room every day. I'm like, no, I don't want to sit next to a performer and be like, I'm not coughing up anything bad. I'm just air coughing. Is she mean parents? Ah, okay. How is the trip? Also, we're keeping the sad Victorian child plays Deadlock. That's gonna be the stream title. It's gonna stick. I'm gonna open up the game too, so it's gonna chunk some things, but it's okay. It's okay. Sad Victorian child quest for fortune and glory. Yes. Hopefully your trip is going well, though, Car. I miss you. Goomber, you got 16, 8, and a 5. Damn, she's snoring. My cat's snoring. You have some good titles I would draw people in. Yeah, I've always been bad at naming the titles. I won't lie. Always have been bad. Sometimes I want to add more frill to it. And then sometimes I'm like, no, why would I add more frill? Like, now that's too much. Oh no. That's too much. I can't do that. Or it's just like, no, that's gonna be shit. Like, that's... Oh. Just gonna stop moving. We like you, the titles? Thank you. I struggle with them. I did put the little star on it because I like having the little stars, like little placeholders. And sometimes I think, no one's gonna click it. I should just have one base, like nothing else added to it. Not even the, what I have at the end of like some of the commands. I do have closed captioning on there, but I don't anymore. I need to figure out how to update that. Yes. Oh my god, I need to... You using Mai's emotes reminds me, I need to talk to Mai. Oh, wait, that's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to change into Ren. I love... Like this one? Okay, that's fair. Oh, I can't switch teams, there's nobody here. The chord, I don't like this song. Like I do, but I don't. Hold on, okay, we gotta get everything prepped, so we're ready. Okay, that's good, that's good, that's good. Love this song. Also, my hair is in fact still damp. It is not fully dry. I'll have you know. I'm gonna do a street brawl to warm up. But also at the same time, I know for a fact I probably will need to get more tea before a real match. So... I actually really liked playing Celeste. Clear priority. Sorry. I played Holiday so many times last night, and I'm fucking shit. I can't fucking aim. Can't fucking aim for shit, bro. What a good hairstylist. Ooh, hell yeah. Honestly, it is really hard to find a good hairstylist, because sometimes they're good, but you don't vibe with them. Sometimes they're bad, and you do vibe with them. And sometimes it's you don't vibe with them, and they're bad. So it's hard. Shit, hell yeah, I'm glad. I miss my old hairstylist. She was wonderful, but I do love my new hairstylist because also she does a lot of like basic cuts. So then when she gets to do my hair, she really has fun with it because she gets to do something a little different, which also makes me not want to change my hairstyle ever. Because sometimes I want to get a normal cut, but I'm like, why would I do that? Why would I be basic and boring? How powerful is this character? 5. He's very scary. How powerful is this character? 5. I don't really care for burst fire as much. But not that expensive. That's fair. You always have to like factor in, especially what type of haircut you're getting. If it's like, okay, you're getting the washed, you're getting the cut, you're getting the styling, so you're paying for 3 things in one. And for then their time and effort and hair products. So it always sucks. Girl haircuts cost so much. Curly haircuts cost even more, but because there's more time and effort going into it. So it's a little rough. Hairstyles? Sarah, do you seem to know what's cool? How long is your hair? Do you like shorter hair or longer hairs? Yes. I do know what's up, slightly. And or I can tell you, I won't lie, I like shaggy haircuts. Through and through. I love shaggy haircuts. But now I'm thinking about other haircuts. Short, not super short, but shorter. Okay. I mean, you can add some nice like layers in there. I know all the boys, and when I mean boys, I mean the boys, like the children. They're all getting their hair permed, and it's very cute and funny to me. Because they want that soft, like, short hair, so, like, where it sits all up top. Not, like, pushed back, but they want it all, like, slightly curly. Because that look is really in. So it's funny that they're all getting perms now. But I do like shaggy haircuts. I think they're very versatile. Because then it adds some layer and texture to your hair. And then you can do whatever the frick you want. I'm just trying to think of how a shaggy haircut will work for a shorter end of hair. It still would work. It's just adding layers to it. There is a bad tickle at the back of my throat. I want you to know.
I brought this with me.
And I genuinely mean that. I might start just like dying. Oh my god, they took him. They just like took the man in there. I'm trying to ignore the bad tickle in the back of my throat. Oh my god. Tell me I get a longer hairstyle, which will suit me. I love a hairstylist that will give opinions. No, Bebop, kill him! Where's that little guy going? He's in there. Oh. He did not crush him. I don't know what he said. Gosh, banging your berry. Whoa. Ah, hi Kevin. Kev, sorry, I don't know why I use your full name. Sorry, I don't know why I just named you like that, you know? I'm just gonna lock in on this. No, just hit this. Hit that. Okay. 13 months, thank you, Kev. Thank you, Kev, with the frog. You're very androgynous. Ooh. Should suit me, Zen? Shoot. Sorry, I don't know why. I meant to say then, but I said Zen. That was shoot your Zen. Similar hair texture? Yeah, sometimes that's finding the right thing. And no matter what, it's fun to experiment with different types of hairstyles because different styles might work, like the more androgynous hairstyles might work with you, like what he's saying. And it might be something fun that you end up really loving. My name? Well, I know, God forbid, they don't know your name. How dare I do such a thing? I apologize, Kev. Kev_Shadow. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. How dare I do such a thing to you? It's okay. It's not like you know where I work. You can't hurt me at work. I can't get up here. Oh, I have a refresher. What's happening right here? I can't hit any shots. I really gotta cough. Hey, Death, I don't want you to do that. Oh. Hey, you stop that, okay? Please not me. Okay. Oh, that's a woman. God, Billy, you're dying. I want to look over at chat, but everything started happening. I think my throat's really dry.
Check out Senator.
Senator, what were you doing in there? Alone. At night.
I got a story for you.
Hermf, not the hermf.
On the Lady of the Lake.
Hopefully they didn't notice that I just refreshed, okay?
I don't back down from a fight.
What was the noise that Paige just let out? Why isn't he dying? Oh, okay, he's dead. Just on Instagram, it's like, I want that. First glance. No, that's so real. Sometimes I do that with my hairstyles too, and then I have a whole Pinterest board of hairstyles so that I don't forget them. Oh, Billy, I should have saved you. Okay, you lived anyways. Okay, you're goated. The goat, most literally. Oh no. Hopefully I'll kick in soon. Real as hell when I take medicine. It's the pain of like, please activate, when you take the short nap just to wait for it to activate. Bonk. Okay, now I can catch up on things. But yeah. Honestly, Steve, my favorite thing is to just look up hairstyles on Pinterest. Because then I have a whole collection there. Do I want anything? No. Shape my hair for growing out. Top so I can dye. Fuck yeah. Ooh. 2 for 1. What did I get? Crap. There's oh, I should do this. I don't want 2 dragons. I'll increase barrier for now. Okay, I can't open it right now, but yeah. Yeah, your back. Your back. It literally said, yeah, ouch. Yeah, no, I caught lightning scroll. I tried to, I'm not gonna lie, I tried to ult. She's dead! Oh my god. We kind of hurt them. I don't think they got good items. Oh, thank you, team.
This is the best part of the story. Premium support.
Come this way, I dare you to.
Oh, you wanted to find me? Well, here I am.
So check out Senator. Summoning.
We're just gonna... Oh, he wasn't a zombie apocalypse there.
There's 2 hiding in there.
It's right out here.
No, Billy! Bebop? Bebopperson! Bebopperson, no! No, he had his sucky suck on. Anyways, yeah, I have like my whole... Hi, Sharon! Hello! I'm somewhat... Ooh. I can't even do that hairstyle. I'm somewhat alive. Final project. Make a lot of headshots. I have a whole collection of like haircuts. And some of them are dream hairs that I can't get. At least not right now. No, my guardian. Oh, he's freaking dead. Archmother, please don't yell at me. Yeah, I like that. You like that one? B-roll. What are we gonna get? You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna punch some people, okay? We're gonna punch some people. We're gonna be punching. We can't get stunned. We can't get stunned. Okay? We can't.
Want me to dragon?
Oh my god, like I should have just taken Cloak of Opportunity.
There's someone I want you to meet.
Oh my god, I went so fast.
Here comes the cavalry.
Oh my god, she has so many skulls. The punching is throwing me off.
Less shit now.
Because I go so far. What is the punch like? 150 heavy melee distance? I got too trigger happy and started punching. My throat hurts so bad. Be bopperson. Oh. Give it a burn. Yeah.
Oh fuck, I had Sarah points. I accidentally rerolled it.
Rip. Oh. We're stuck in a corner. Okay. Now I just want to look at like what haircuts I have like archived there. Alec? Alec. Oh my god. My friend sent me an audio clip I didn't even see. I haven't looked at I gotta be a human again and respond to my friends. Oh, my fucking throat hurts. We short stream today. Short stream. Take note, me. Short stream. I can't do this to my throat the entire day.
Want me to dragon?
I say as I gladly will play games later with friends.
Gotcha.
Well, it worked.
Oh, they're all right there.
The dead are stirring in Midtown.
Oh god. Yours, no!
Shit, dude.
I can't do anything with the silence, bro.
It's the silence, the stuns, the resistances.
I don't know why. I started laughing and coughing. God, I fucking sound like shit. Is there stuff on my freaking computer? Oh, is that the game? I don't know why I'm just like petting my monitor right now. his fucking name. Sausage 6-shooter. Get back on fucking League of Legends, my dude. He's getting it for that name. Oh my god. His name fucking killed me. Oh my god. I'm gonna leave you talking to the lady at the table. I am gonna go make myself another cup of tea, and then we'll play a real game. Who do you guys want today? I'll just give you Nessie. You guys can have Nessie, okay? I'm gonna make tea, and then I'll be back. I'll take my vitamins. Cat. Oh, there she is. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, guy. I couldn't tell where Mochi was sleeping. Oh, please. I couldn't tell where she was sleeping. Oh my god. Where she was sleeping? I thought she was tucked under the blanket. No, she was just tucked in her little circle. In her little circle. Hamilton! Hamilton, no. I actually don't mind this playlist. Okay, maybe we don't want to start off with that song. Do. I have to be careful with my songs because in all of my compulsions I wish to sing, but I don't think I should sing in the state of which I am. What's in there? Let's just go off our like songs for a little bit. I have so many haircuts. I found this one haircut I think everybody would appreciate here. It's like the calico hair because it is main base color is brown, but it's mixed in with other colors. But it is so pretty. It's like a very nice orange and light green. Like a mossy green. But it's like mixed in. So pretty. Love that shit. Eat that up. I eat that up so much. But I can't have that. I can't have that. Yay! Stay with us, car. Stay with us. Stay with us. We'll hold your hand. Stay with us.
I can't spend all my time at the sideshow.
Don't really feel like McGinnis. Sorry, I don't know what type of cough that was. For about 10 minutes. Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, did not sleep on the plane. Oh no. Did you like just fly out, car? Like you just got there-ish? Fuck. I do really like this song. Yes. Yes. Sorry, I really like Rem. I do have warm hot tea, so hopefully I don't perish in the middle of this. Truth be told, I perished while playing, I love this. Bow, 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 bow. My sweet, sweet attitude voice.
I'm going to get you.
Fishing game.
I trust you.
You're my mom. Oh, Eva. You're my mom. She's my mom. I don't have money. Oh shit, I need to hit the balls. Where's my teammate? Okay. I kind of forgot what I was doing. I was so locked into the conversation happening above my head. Ate breakfast and then conked out. You know, fair. Frick. Okay. Haze, you keep doing Haze things. What you gonna do? Wow. Just uninvited. It's free for me. Haze, I need you to hit the balls.
I'm just gonna close my eyes for a second.
Game arrived 7 a.m. Florida time. Oh damn. Okay, so you did just get there. So you literally meant it when you said you sucked the fuck out. Oh, there was nothing in that fucking box. The Dwifter is going to steal all of your extra watching. Sorry, there's a really funny meme about that. You know, it makes me happy playing Deadlock because it's a game. Fuck. that I feel comfortable playing by myself again. I haven't had that in a while. Because I'm shit at games, bro. I'm shit at games. Where did my haze go? Oh, she's over there, okay. The curiosity shopping. Yes, little one, yes. How was the plane ride over? Car, I miss you. Car, I miss you. Have I told you I miss you? I miss you.
Sweet dreams.
Nah, my little bonk. What are we listening to, y'all? Ow. I don't actually know what we're listening to, and it'll cost me an eye and a hand to look at what. I want that ball. I don't want that ball. I don't want that ball.
I'm here.
You can't. I myself as a glorp cat. Glorp! I love Glorp Cat. The golfing game I really love. I'm a glorp in there. Me and my glorp brothers. My glorp siblings, I should say. Whenever I like have a gang of people and we're all dressed up as the same, I don't know why I default to like, yes, my brothers. I think it's a stupid cat meme. I think I need to shut the fuck up for a little bit. Hold on. I don't mean anything in game. I mean my actual throat.
You got expensive days. Pull back. I love it.
Anyways. I think my throat is actually gonna kill me. Where are you taking me, Hayes? To the sky, I see. Don't you do it, Dwifta. Where's my little guy? Oh, I don't have a minion. Chudling. Chudling, please.
Great at shuffleboard.
Ah. Can't see past anything. Nice. Where's son is? Sorry, I was halfway there. What is meant for? No, I get what you mean. I think I'm just so sick and tired of this fucking throat ache. This sore throat. Because I've literally have had this sore throat since before I had a fever. So it's annoying as shit. I'm fighting back this sore throat. I'm throwing my hands at him. I guess my sore throat is a him now. Stop hitting me, Celeste.
Celeste is ready to be a team player. Ready to start some shit.
Okay, fuck you, Celeste.
Don't be a jerk.
I gotta hit their balls. God. Okay, take care. Take care, Doc.
Back.
I'll hit as many as I can. They do lots of things.
Well, I don't know which guy I sent that to.
Completing the ritual.
Get back. No, don't hurt my A's.
Will they come back for revenge?
Ready to get in the mix.
Can I have my little chudling?
Don't be a jerk.
Fuck you. It's been okay. I got sick recently, bud. So not the worst, but you know, my body's fighting me. That's all.
Get out of here.
I like how they get like hit back. Oh, I want to hit their balls too. Frick, I didn't hit theirs. I still watch it. Sorry, there's a stupid... Hello? Oh, that's a car
I've
noise.
done it.
Thank you, car. Thank you, I love you. Oh. Hello, is she? Hey, stop it. Hey.
As soon as that.
I didn't mean to put it on that. Hey.
I'll disintegrate a lot of them.
Knox, no stress ready.
Hey, stay careful. Stay careful. Also, thank you, car.
My friend, survival is paramount.
I want another chatling. I want another chatling. What is my hair's at?
We're buddies.
What is that? 19 months. Thank you, car. I love you. I love. Oh, the days of playing Repo. I do really miss Repo. Oh, he's still low. It's been a hot minute since I've like played Repo in general. Nina. Oh, I fucking missed that. Nina. Ha. Is she at? Okay. Fuck. Okay, well, I didn't hit a person. I want to hit that, but I feel like we're too... Or, like, pulled back a little bit too much. There's up on my face. I love you, and I miss you.
My kid says all the mystics are buying.
That noise scared me. It was just his mic. Hey, stop hitting me.
Greenwich is under attack.
Calm down, Hidden King. Okay, I feel like we're all at a standstill here. Nothing has happened and we're 10 minutes in. Hey, Hayes. I think they're looking really tasty. They're looking really tasty. They're looking really tasty. Oh, me. Oh my god.
Let me reset.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you very, very much. Wasting a night. I want to listen to the song again. You're so cool. They weren't even near me. I want you to know.
Dynamo's missing.
Thank you.
You.
Like the enemies weren't even near me, but I started screaming.
The guy's here, he's just farming jungle.
I see Dynamo.
I started screaming for my life. You're so cool. I hope I'm cool enough for some other people. I made hot tea and then I didn't know how to... Is there fucking urn? Yo, my little chudling. Okay. Using my chudling and stealing stuff. I want to steal stuff on their end.
So I'm gonna hit him with this Seagull. Get ready with your...
I like hearing them planning. Where did my haze go? Okay. She left.
Oh, fuck.
They destroyed the Guardian.
Oh, classic Dynamo.
I like my haze. I
saw
like...
the vision. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh no, that was his first kill.
And we got Walker out of it.
Walker?
And we probably could get Aaron out of it too.
They got. Oh my god, they got Walker!
I see the enemy.
Holy shit! I was like, oh, what the fuck they mean Walker? What Walker did we lose? No, we took theirs. They demolished Blue. They fucking ate. Sorry.
We can
Oh
fuck up
my
Slow.
god, I'm lagging. What is happening to my internet?
Thank you.
Hearts amongst them. A perpetual thorn in
I have
their
a friend
side.
here. I do have a friend here. Oh shit. Lash, I can't see you. I killed a woman. I'm a cold-blooded killer.
Blue needs help.
I'm going back.
Dynamo.
They'll come.
You better not be getting that Sinners. I wanted it.
I might want to buy something new.
Yes, little Rem. Hey, he didn't take the Sinners, you guys.
Eyes for blood.
I don't have a little chuddling though. What do you think you're gonna do, Dynamo? You're dying. Okay. Okay, Dynamo. I think I'm pretty fucking good at Rem. Just Rem. Not a lot of other
You can pull her
characters.
back, Billy. I might be able to.
Exquisite.
Not a lot of other
It's
characters.
almost ready.
I really want that Sinners. Am I in charge of babysitting? I guess I am. That's okay. I just want to go in the tunnels.
Silver showed up.
Yeah, Director's here.
Hyper beam's all warmed up.
Oh, what's that guy doing there? Just oh, that was two people. What are you doing here?
Come in, yellow blue.
Chase them down, darling.
Okay, we have Mina here too.
You're not nice.
Headed to green.
Celeste is here.
Push Lash. Give me the Lash. Oh, hell yeah.
Come home. Thank you.
That's the one thing that I know how to do really fast. Thank you.
Hydrate, you bastard!
Hydrate? Okay, I will drink my tea.
To be claimed.
It should be cool enough that it's not gonna hurt me. But also, I think I deserve a little sip. Look how good I'm doing. I'm defending my team so well. Oh god, they're coming back with full force here. I'm gonna buy my items as fast as I can.
Don't be a jerk.
Do my boxes. Okay, this is not what it looks like. It's not me buying my items really fast.
Bought that off a Knickerbocker that was about to get his legs.
It was in fact me buying my items while getting distracted. I need to throw as many pillows. Okay, Bebop's coming. I want those items. Yes! I guess they're not items. Oh! It was just Bebop. Hey, you said hydrate. That was rude. I think that was some of my chudlings. You're not allowed to get my little guardian.
Blue needs some help.
Except I am kind of just stuck here with this
They've
guardian.
taken our blue guardian.
Great at shuffleboard.
They are great at shuffleboard, little guy. Oh, that one hurt.
Patron.
The running her.
The running urn. Oh, fuck, and it's all the way up there. Disgusting penis. Sorry. Oh my god, it's a bot. Ooh. He's still out there?
Looks ready. Headed to yellow.
Get out of here!
Fear has been dropped.
Good job.
Fear has been dropped.
Okay. Well, we're all gathered here for the urn. Let's take this. Oh god. No, Mina! Run, Mina! Mina!
I die.
No.
For your lash, you can't.
A piction.
Thank you.
There will be a reaping. Thank you.
What? We all left the urn.
Oh, I fucking missed. Was that? Oh, fuck, but they got that.
They claim the urn.
Not nice.
I gotta run. I gotta go. Zoinks.
Headed to York.
Take my little farm. I fucking obliterate those little guys. Oh, that's somebody really close to me. That was not a friend. What do we have? I can't leave. I feel it. I feel like everything's so quiet in my head right now. You know? Oh. Oh! Hey, I was doing something, buddy. Don't look at me. Oh, they're collapsing on this. Hey, that's not very nice, Silver.
No idea what I'm capable of. Don't be a jerk.
Headed to Broadway.
I don't have my thing yet.
Headed to York.
Alright, I'm done playing with you.
Well, you know. Ground lash ult, but that happens.
Party here, pal.
Oh my god.
Your stay will be unforgettable. The spirit urn is waiting to be claimed.
Oh, she fucking went up. Oh, eviction!
I'll hit as many as I can.
Oh no, a ball. If I just stay inside everybody, it's fine. That sounds so weird. Normal remedy. What's touching me? Oh, no!
Headed to York. Ready to use those of me.
Thank you.
Oh my god. Oh.
Pull back.
They took our lash.
Got the blocker.
I can't believe I freaking lived.
Here's your chance to shape your destiny.
I hope they actually got their sinners. Who do they have on their team? Okay. I'm safe in the tunnels.
Let's take out Dynamo.
I'm not over there. I'm farming my little chud life.
is here.
We can't contest. Don't worry.
I kind of wish I was a shrimp today, but also I don't. I actually look like a human today.
They claim the urn.
What are we at? Oh, we do need to.
It's dangerous out here.
Oh my god, get in. No, I missed. That was a crucial time of me not missing. Flash, I have a $1,400 bag.
Oh, fucking Dino saved her ass.
I can't lose this $1,300 bag. $1,300 bag in my
Really being
pocket.
fucked up.
Oh, Hayes!
I'm fucked up on the
Through the wall.
Hayes! Hayes just got kidnapped. I just watched my mom get kidnapped.
Doorman.
Dude, he got me on the fucking locker, dude. That's fine though.
Swing by anytime.
God, I have so much money though.
Just farm. We have entire control over their life.
Oh my god, we have delicious farm. Delicious farm.
Fight at the walker.
Oh, maybe I should. No, I want to keep this.
Headed to Greenwich.
Greenwich is under attack.
God, I could just buy here. I didn't even need to go all the way back.
Thank you.
I really want to be in that fight. Okay. Who the fuck is the little guy over here? Okay, take all this farm. I do really like this song.
Pull back.
2-4. I wonder if bridge buffs are up soon. Oh, they so are. I was so right in my little brain. Man, I'm actually really happy with this game. This is a very happy team. I love Celeste's dying noise sometimes. It's so funny. That sounds so weird, but like...
The spirit urn is
Okay,
waiting
good.
to be
I was like, I hope we get the other bridge buff. Okay, I'm going to become richer in this mere moment. What?
I do not know what hit me. He's on our left, over here.
Me too, Rem. I don't want Drifter to get this. Also, I wish to purchase.
Don't chase too far.
Okay. I think he's just gonna get that. Get his ass!
Headed to Greenwich.
Oh, he's so low. Get him, Lash!
Oh, Dino's a temple.
Oh, I wanted to kill him. Okay.
Jar is here.
Four yellow.
Doorman was waiting in there with the door. Genuinely, that was horrifying to turn the corner to see that they were sitting there. Was that theirs? I don't want to go up there.
Rotating.
Yeah, back up, back up.
God, I want to help them over there.
Pull back.
I don't want to just leave this lane alone.
So I got speed boost on my way.
Especially since we have the advantage of still having a freaking. We're not gonna have a guardian in a second.
Boosting over ramp. Just pull back. You really can't fight that fight on green.
Wait, let's go back.
Hey,
man. Okay, flash is good. Ow. That freaking hurt.
This man is a pussy, man.
What the frickies? Where's he going?
A blue walker is under attack. Heading to blue. A green walker is under attack.
Where am I?
They've destroyed our blue walker.
Fine. What a weird encounter that was. Me and Dynamo is fighting on the roof. Oh, I can't buy here anymore.
We're behind. We need to get earned.
We are behind. We are behind. Oh no, we were doing so good. It just feels so bad at Marvel Rivals that I won. You know, sometimes that does happen. It's okay. But that's good. You made comeback. Okay, earn. Push up lane me.
come help!
Help me deliver this thing.
I like naps.
Me push up lane.
Chain gang's almost ready.
See pocket.
Who has it? Mina has it. Me push lane.
Then I distracted just kidding.
Okay. Did I need an ult? Probably not. Did I? Yeah.
Don't be a jerk.
What's happening over here? Gotta go.
We're buddies.
Whoa.
I'll hit as many as I can.
Oh my word.
Pull back.
Billy dies. We have to leave.
Oh, I'm stuck at the railing.
Kill us all if we don't stop him.
Kill it, go back.
Front feel free to take.
Sweet Rem, thank you for
Oh. How the fucking lash. I'm being hunted. Anyways, glad on my team. Who do you like to play in Rivals, Haunted?
Fight at Walker, don't fight me.
Ooh, oh no. Or just losing because of the money game. We do have most of their walkers. Oh no, but we're all dead. We're gonna lose yellow, that's fine.
Okay.
Right now, I'm gonna go right now. Okay, we still have.
We lose. Actually, we might be able to.
Oh, I just saw the chunk of the walker go down.
Speed boost.
This is my mother. This is Hayes. Order. I feel like the music's too low.
Pull back.
I don't know, I think I'm just here for vibes today. I'm not a popular Deadlock streamer, I'm just here for funny. And I'm sick, so I should shut up. I did want one of the songs. I didn't really get to listen to this earlier. There's our star. Matt! I should not try to sing. Oh my god, that was fucking pathetic. It was a pathetic beginning of this song. What the fuck was I singing? There's a star, and then I just started coughing. I should be the one holding a locker. What the frick is there? Is that another one? Like another box. Stupid ass. I know I don't have any viewers. I'm playing Deadlock. Oh. Stop. Man. I just wanted to hear this song. And I sang it so bad.
Don't be a jerk.
Oh, I wonder if we should do... No, we need money. Well... Whoa. I don't know. That wasn't English. No, let me go cover. She's doing that. Why did that sound like a cat? Give me all your money. It's a lie.
Thanks, great shuffle.
There you go. Okay, leaving you, Hayes. Where's my entrance? Ah, here we go. I found the hole.
Soldier is here.
God, I thought somebody was right there.
Headed to yellow.
Wait, you guys,
I'm gonna go for her.
I have a big ball on me, though.
Headed to Greenwich.
Time to break open the piggy bank and buy something.
I love Rem. Rem brings me such joy in my life. See if I can buy, I think healing tempo.
You're adorable, Rem.
Should still be faster. Oh my god.
Kind spirit, Rem.
Thank you.
Oh my god. Pocket. Kill him. I miss my friends. Dude, I sometimes say things and then I'm like, oh man.
On my
Jordy
way.
would make fun of me for doing that. Or, oh man, Kodiak would also eat that up.
Yeah, let's go mid.
We should be able to take it quickly.
Oh, I haven't been this part of the tunnel. Oh! What's that one? Oh, I'm in it. Where am I? Who am I? Okay. Circle around, circle
Yeah,
around.
Jetter's all the way in green. We should be fine.
I'm coming.
I'm just gonna close my eyes.
They will be unforgettable.
Ah, let me out! Oh, I'm stuck on the fucking ledge. I don't know what he said that time. I still got it though. Are we? We're 10 behind. That's how I feel, Kai. I feel like I am just sitting here. Oh, perfect timing. I am hydrating. With my tea. Kai, there's been 2 bots, but they're like different. They like smash all their mumbo jumbo into my face, and I'm like, whoa there. Aren't you gonna tell me a fun little story? Soup version of an emo. I love Soup so much. That's okay. I learned on my iPad, because I don't like tapping out of Deadlock. On my iPad, I could just swipe. It's like I'm swiping them on a fucking dating app. Deny. Quite funny.
Of course, all the lanes.
But like, I don't like how they look. And they don't tell me all the mumbo jumbo anymore, and I wish they did. It's kind of like when those art bots come in. Kind of miss those two. I haven't seen them in a while. I shouldn't say that because then they're gonna appear and then I'm gonna be so done with them, but like, man, they don't do it like they used to. Okay, we are starting to lose now. Oh. Where is everybody? Where are they all? They're like all over here. Oh, there's a woman on me. Bebop. Oh, no heal Bebop. Okay. Ow. What are you doing up here?
My team's drifter.
Defend the stronghold.
Fuck, I can't. If I can get over there.
I know you'll help me.
I'm only a little guy.
Haze is coming for them. They will return.
Get your ass over here. Yeah, okay. Okay. We need to not lose like that again. We need to not do that. You have a chance. I sent you all. Ooh, it's 8 p.m. and I'm so eepy. You've had a long. Are they all okay?
Don't be a jerk.
You had a long week last week, so I know damn well your body is
They do lots of things.
crying. So it's okay. You're still recovering. I say as I sound like this. Oh my god, I shouldn't be aggressive. I was aggressive in 1 ounce. And my throat started dying. My throat said, take those words back, right meow. Don't you dare be mean to your bear. We need to get as much farm and not lose it. Oh, let me do doubles. Because Billy wants them.
The spirit urn is waiting to be claimed.
Billy doesn't want it. I'm a greedy little chudling, though, unfortunately. I'm a very greedy little chudling. I'm a greedy little.
Two yellows.
I only hit 1 box. Why would I do such a thing? I'm gonna help them in a second. I have a huge fucking ball. Can't let Lash die. Come on, Bebopperson. You can do it, Bebopperson.
Pull back.
Bebopperson, where the fuck are you? Oh, you're from the sky.
We delivered the urn to the king's power.
Okay.
Pull back.
I like naps. Headed to Greenwich.
I need more money. Ooh, Kai, because I know you like her. This song, new Emmy song. Very good. Jingles my jangles very much.
your way home, kid.
Take that. I kind of want a little bit of spirit because they kind of hurt me a lot. I do that.
Two blue.
Okay.
On our left.
Okay. Oh.
They do lots of things.
Okay. I like locked. No! Ash. Oh my god. Get me the fuck out of there. Get me into the base. That's what I want. Are they all right here? Oh, it's just that. Oh, I could really go for. I could really go for a nice little. Oh my god. Refresher. Oh no, me!
Always looking for
Why? Okay, so I might explode. Ow! My friend! My mother! Oh my god. Oh! That was a weird experience. No. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. No.
Really should have given me or something.
Wow.
Here's the grand finale.
Stay together.
Ow, my fucking head. No.
Hey, keep it invulnerable.
Get this ball off of us.
Behind you, beyond.
I see the enemy.
This is horrifying. Troubling for everybody.
We must be ready.
Oh my god. Hello? Okay. I can't go back and purchase.
Let's go mid.
Urn is waiting to be cleansed.
You should not.
Might be too dangerous right
Yeah.
How many? Oh, with all of them up?
Down.
Yeah.
Might as well do it.
But they're all hurt.
We need everybody here.
now. I'm here. Let's go.
I'm coming. The rejuvenator is descending.
Did we get them all? Yeah! Whoa. Okay, attached to somebody. I'm scared. Next person. Anybody else? No, you know what? That's crazy. You're deadlocking. I am.
Otherwise, they're gonna kill our base.
No! It is going relatively well.
Headed to Greenwich.
My haze. My mother.
Fucking stupid character.
Fuck you, Pocket.
Dino ulted.
How? That was personal. Leave my lash alone.
You make me feel safe.
Oh my god. An actual mid-boss fight? Dude. It was actually really good. Oh my god, can he fucking die? I need to go back and get these minions. Again?
It's so fucking annoying.
Dude, this Daniel's a loser, bro.
I know you'll help me.
I really gotta get refresher. Yeah, he has.
Draker's healing on left. You could push hard. Get trying.
Let me heal and I'll come help you guys real quick.
I really want all of- look at all of the loot on the fucking- all the jungle!
Actually, when you should run Earn.
That's not a bad idea.
No, just push.
That's also not a bad idea.
Should be able to get that.
Just wait until I get going.
Okay.
Silver is up now. Get their strength.
Oh, that was not dead?
Stay together.
Continue.
Anybody needs some healing.
Fun, my darlings.
Okay. Where the fuck are we?
I hate this fucking character.
Mina. I'm trusting you, Mina. Mina, my goat.
Headed to yellow.
Mina, my goat. Oh my god, I only got out because of Mina.
Kid, you got great taste.
I don't want Torment anymore.
Pull back.
Let's freaking go. No.
Pull back.
Okay, yeah, no. I'm staying back.
Pull back. Pull back.
Mina.
Don't be a jerk.
Oh no, Mina's getting eaten alive. She's getting eaten alive. She fucking made it? Oh, she's still getting eaten alive. I can't get her through the fucking wall. They fucking want her ass.
Double anvil.
No stress on cooldown.
Naps are fun.
Where did him over there?
Headed to green.
Oh god, that's silver.
Waiting to be claimed.
I'm so scared right now.
They do have something.
Oh my god! Do I have a friend? I do have a friend. Is Pocket dead? Okay, Pocket is dead. Well. This stupid ass fucking ball.
Way to go!
Oh, he almost fucking died. Yes! The back rooms! Ow! Ow! Ow!
Thank you.
Fuck you! What the freak? I'm so excited for the back rooms. Ow, fucking hurt. Huh. What the frick was that? God. Thank you, ho. We should play Deadlock later. I love Deadlock. My throat's fucked up. Good luck, have fun on the outside world. Okay. Fuck. Feeling good right now, right meow, right meow. Need to help push up these lanes. I put a lot of chudlings. Okay, right meow, right meow, right meow.
Mid-boss has arrived.
Come in.
Try to take it as quickly as possible. If you are.
There's
There
that
we go. I
beat
killed
to
Torment
make
maybe
me
first.
go pop. She up too, buddy. What are we doing? Sorry, I logged back into the game. I gotta help this team. No, my mother! Oh, reverb.
Hold back.
Oh no. Mina, okay. Oh no, Mina.
Don't be a jerk. They took our.
How many cheap tests do they got?
That's such a bomb, bruh.
You fucking ate me. Oh my god. Anyways. This is the last time we were here. I've just been sick, truly. Sorry, I just keep on locking back into the game because a lot is happening. I think they might just eat us. Oh, I do want to see if I can buy a refresher. That make the go pop. This that make the make you go pop. This that make the make you go pop. Got up. Let me go right now, right now, right now.
So much.
Right now, right now. Oh, I ain't gonna get in time. They're just gonna eat it. But yeah, nothing. Saw some really cool projects to audition for. So that's really cool. It's just cool seeing what's happening in the industry, like what projects are going out. Like, oh, okay. But yeah, nothing much. That's a GG Dark. Didn't let me into the freaking. Oh my god, it committed me so fast.
I did what I had to do.
That wasn't a bad game though. Oh. My team was really good. Holy shit, 40k healing? God damn. Was Billy on our team? Yeah, I did. I like the doorman. He said free invite for me. Very hee very haha. Man. I need to open my door so I can let the air flow. Oh, I do like this song, but I don't want this. Oh, DPR, I forgot he had new songs. I wonder if he has anything else coming out soon. Oh, let me get my free music. Free music in Rem's room. Yeah, okay. I wonder if I added this too. I don't think I did. Where's my the best? Okay, to that one, and then we add this to the best. Just kidding, the best got moved to the top. Okay. I do kind of want this song and this one. Did I add this to the best? I did not. Okay, we have some Backrooms music then. That wasn't a bad match. I just sound like a dying child. It was really good. I didn't really go into the tunnels that much. Kind of makes me sad. I love Rim for that. I'm gonna go piss go really quick. Please entertain thyself in the meantime with some Backrooms music, you know? I'll give you Nessie again. That's permitted. There, have Nessie. I will be right back, and then we will continue. Oh my god, that's so cool. Would you all like to see a kibby? Would you like a kibby? Here's a kibby. Yeah. Hold on, Ricky. Your little toesies. Sorry, I'm trying to hold you. Anything else? No? Okay. Don't bug her. Nemi. I almost said nemesis. Nessie. They want you. They want you. They want you as a new recruit. Me. I love this song. Man, that was a good match, bro. I thought we were gonna fucking win that, but we kind of just started rolling. We started rolling backwards. I need to see this. Oh my god. Not that. My Rem, so Paige used to be my most played. Perfectly fine. I really liked Rem and Ivy at the beginning. I really liked Holiday. I was just shit at Holiday. Unfortunately, I'm still shit at Holiday. Do love Mina. Mina just hurts. I never have played any of these people before. Sorry, I'm dying momentarily. Anyways, my hours in Rem have just like 148 games played, only 99 us Paige. So fucking funny. Oh my god. Holy fucking alien is a Rem. Overall it's 2 million. Sorry, I can't I'm not allowed to get excited because then I start coughing. Hero damage too. Paige is a lot too. Oh, that's crazy. I have a lot more as Paige, seeing as there's only so many games and I have so double the amount, but because I heal a lot more as Rem. I don't do too much damage. Oh my god. Okay. What? You. What am I supposed to do with a submarine? What am I supposed to do with a submarine? Can I, like...
One of the things... Sorry, I don't think I'm ready to...
Hey, maybe I'll make that interview after all.
What if we just leave just the priority on right? It's right under me. I can't get excited, oh my god. What am I supposed to do? I'm dying. I feel like this has changed. I feel like this has changed. I don't think it has. Oh, good morning, Mochi. You're not allowed on the desk, okay? I will evict you from the desk. To work now? Good luck heading to work. I love you, Shaylin. I love you, Shaylin. Bro, I'm still fucking dying. Oh I didn't do it terribly today. Hold on. I'm gonna encourage you over there. I need to buy that book. Do I buy that book? I think I can. I can treat myself. I've been sick. I haven't gone out and done anything. I almost played Resident Evil today. Now looks at me. Now looks at me. Now looks at me. I just like Rem. I love this little guy. I've thought about, because I know I have a convention I'm going to in August. I'm like, what if I just make a Rem cosplay? Just a cute little silly little guy. It'd be really fun. Be really fun. My only compulsion with hello? With playing Deadlock. Oh! I didn't know I could turn down my music with my phone like that. Also, we got a match at the same time. This did not go according to plan. This did not go according to plan.
Hola, ¿qué tal, mis amigos? Hablamos español?
Y'all don't even speak Japanese, bro.
That's real, dog. I'm gonna be straight with you.
Who the fuck am I with?
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
Yo, let me go mid.
Oh shit. Oh wait. Never mind, I did it right. Never mind. So how are we doing today, guys? We ready to win this game? They have the fucking comp of
I
doom and
woke up
despair.
stupid sick, bro. Oh my god.
Don't worry, you're playing Bebop. You don't need a brain.
Oh my god.
You know what? I respect that, honestly.
W key put bomb win. Easy.
Bro, I don't play Graves. I don't play Graves.
Bone ward.
I don't play Graves. Coco, I am overwhelmed. The match just started. Okay, Mochi, you're gonna get onto my desk and then start itching your ear?
If they get close, kill them.
Like, that's what you're gonna fucking do on my desk while I'm playing Deadlock? Oh my god. I don't even know if I have a Graves build. Oh my god, Mochi, this is not the time. Oh no, you guys, oh no!
Sentries up.
Get him, sentries. Oh god. Oh, that was quite rude of you. Oh no, you guys, Mochi's on me. Do we want Mochi cam? Ow! Fully annotated? Oh shit. Okay, so I don't have a fucking build. At least that stops them. Oh my god, oh my god.
Have fun.
Okay, deathy it is.
Let's take out Dynamo.
I wish I had Jordy here. I wish Jordy would help me. Jordy's fucking out. I wish I was Rem. At least Rem's on our team. That's acceptable. Oh, resto shot. Okay. Come here, my little chudlings, my little skullings. Oh, shit. Ow! Fucking.
Never mind, I need 1600. I'm fucking stupid. Sorry.
I wish I wasn't so scared to talk in games. Ow! Fucking hell. No shit! Okay. I didn't fuck it up. I really need this one. Longer trades. Do I need 1600? Okay. Playing with a whole cat on my hand is kind of a little bit hard. I like the Dwifter. I was gonna switch to fucking Sogs too. I guess I'll do that.
Going to shop.
I just don't have a lot of stamina. I actually really love Celeste. I was playing her last night in Street Brawl. I did at one point in Street Brawl get a enhanced mystical piano that went off every 8 seconds. So I was dropping a piano on the people's heads every 8 seconds. That was quite funny. Fuck, I missed it. My cat is gonna... My hair is...
My bad, I dashed.
Bebop.
Oh my god, she takes so long. She takes so long to fucking heal.
Paradox missing.
Get that fucking healing.
Paradox went yellow. Careful.
Come on, boys.
Oh my god, ow, ow, ow.
The dynamo.
I want these boxes.
The inevitable waits for everyone.
Okay. I still have a cat on my arm. Okay, no, I needed 1600, so 300 more. Okay, so I have 400 bullets. I just lost my horse. Oh, I ran out of bullets. I hate just running out of bullets on my hand that just is a Moira hand. Oh, I denied.
Going to shop.
Ow, I was standing over it in the fucking sky.
The bones will protect us.
I have enough, finally. Okay. I really gotta itch my face.
I'll take all the help I can get. I don't think so. The dead's wrath will be felt.
Okay. This kind of hurts. This kind of hurts. If I can itch my face, because like my hair is also like poking. Ow. Holy shit. I need those.
This part always creeps me out.
Oh god. No. Dude, I'm shit at grapes. I don't know what the fuck. Go, Drifter, go!
Our yellow guardian has been defeated.
Don't work today? Well, hell yeah. Hopefully it was a good work day. Ooh, ricochet. Ricochet, ricochet.
She's out of bomb. Let's go. We take it. We take this.
I need to get this.
We take this twin.
Nothing but training.
Man, why didn't you say anything, bro? I got jump scared by you.
That's the only way to play, bro.
Lash is missing.
You're really not gonna like this build.
Oh no.
Hell yeah. Tick, tick, tick.
Ooh. I don't know if I
Alright,
did
I'm
that
on shot.
good.
I'm going base. Bye.
Oh, I found Lash. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Damn, it sucks having no stamina.
There's no escaping the grave.
Yes, Graves, except I fucking died, okay?
I see Vindicta.
Damn, that's crazy how I almost got Mac fucking 60 stacks.
You know, at least the other teammates are doing well. So, like, it's okay.
Mid-boss has arrived.
Drifter! Not Drifter, just Lash. Come on, Lash. Don't you dare, Lash. Take a skull.
Gets close.
Actually, he did take a skull. Kind of itch my face again. My fucking hair is like poking.
The spirit urn is waiting to be claimed.
I do want to use my ult, but I don't think it's a good point to do that right now.
Animating defenses.
So, oh, thank you, Doc. Oh, good heavens! Sorry, that like really went off in my ear.
Do your thing, boys. Death is coming.
We'll send out some zombies. This should help. Okay. Okay.
Easy, easy.
See? You don't need a brain. Told you. I'm joking. Good.
Oh, look at Bebop go. We haven't fed them too much, so it's not the worst. Like, I've been dying, but it's okay. Okay, so what is this for? By the best damage added monastery, main reason allows you no damage. Thank you, Deathy.
Whoa, we already lost a guardian over there? What are we doing?
Is rewarded.
It was like 5 minutes ago.
Oh. Oh, yeah. I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
Why did he sound like that?
I can't have anyone if I'm
Damn, we already... That was like 5 minutes ago, buddy. It really was like 5 minutes ago. I also have a cat in my hand. Okay, Mochi, I need you to like... Don't rumble at me as if I'm in the wrong. She's mad at me.
Our guardian has been destroyed.
I'm just gonna stay back. I can't do much.
Well, that's fucking gay.
Blue Walker is under attack.
Choice of words there, Bebop. Bebopperson. Please never say that again. Oh shit, I don't have enough. Oh, I actually caught him. I didn't mean to. That trap wasn't for you.
If they get close, kill them.
We gotta defend that urn.
Run that urn.
Did I hear defend urn?
Nope, you're hearing things. Because we're sick.
Ah. No! Wow, she just died.
Don't come near me, please, buddy.
Animating defenses.
I am, in fact, scared of you. I think me and Drifter are, in fact, both scared of you. I haven't even been able to, like, get... Okay, Archmother, you don't gotta call us out like that. Okay, I won't lie, Mochi's either growling...
There's another one right there? Oh, no, never.
And or...
I don't know.
Snoring? No, she's growling.
Stay away from me.
Oh, Drifter.
I'm gonna just go back to peace.
Okay, thank you, Mochi. Okay, I can play. She's so mad at me.
Never mind, I'm going after her.
Endure anything.
This is what I get. Like, Braves is a really fun character, and I do really love her. But since I'm not with friends, this is a very dangerous zone of I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't have my friends to support me. Don't you dare run after me.
One above you.
Oh yeah, I'm going for her. Hell no, stay on our side, bitch. Hell yeah.
The spirit urn is waiting to be claimed.
Oh, she's low. She's low.
Let's take out Vindicta.
Hit anyone who gets close.
Oh god, I'm gonna fucking die. I can't do anything.
Walker has been defeated.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Please don't rush in here. Please don't rush in here. You can fucking kill me.
We gotta be careful of Infernus, guys.
Bebop is setting the tone.
Oh, he's a little fed. What the fuck?
Yeah, he's taking our base right now. We can walk into blue. Come with me. Come with me. To blue. We can literally just walk in there.
I'm away.
Vindicta was there.
I can hook her up here.
I'm saying he's fed, but he only has 2 kills.
Fairly confident I can hook her. Hold on.
I'm just gonna do my due diligence and suck at the game.
I'm so dead. Fuck! How the fuck did she kill me?
1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if Infernus is
The
here
bones will
or
protect
not.
us.
You shitting me, bro? Fine, Lash. I won't go there.
Our blue walker is under attack. Has been defeated.
Oh, shit.
I am the Reaper's handmaiden.
Oh shit, I should have changed the music. I forgot that was...
Yo,
Come on.
Why are 3 of us dropping donuts here?
I'm bad, that's why.
You're playing Graves. You can't be bad if you're playing Graves. Graves makes you good.
I'm bad.
Okay, Twin, please.
I'm bad, sir. I don't know what to tell you. I can't be bad, it's great. Ah, fuck it.
I'm dead.
Oh my god. I hope that can beat the shit out of that. Fucking getting the fuck out of there. Oh my god, fucking sound awful, dude. Who is this? Venator? I don't have skulls. Give me skulls. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, we really need to take this.
Our green guardian has been defeated.
I can't throw any.
Cross the line if you can. Deadland Parade.
Thanks.
I hope my like little chumblings can do something. Oh shit, he hurts so much. Fucking pummeled. Oh, that'll be good. Let's do that. Oh, I can do all those. Okay, situational. This is me learning. I'm shit at this, bros. It don't matter, no one's here. I keep saying that, and that's a horrible mentality, but it's true. Meaning, I can be as bad as I want. Not really, I actually don't want to lose, so, I take that all back. Hello, Tato. Why were you? One night. By you. The best.
I need to face danger head on.
Ooh, if I use split shot, okay. There we go. There we go. Yeah, we're here for my enjoyment now. Oh my god. Somebody fucking waiting there.
Yeah, I'm game for that.
Riffer, let's go. Fuck you. Let's do this. Oh. 27.
I've never once actually had that happen, but that was pretty cool, Bebop.
What did Bebop do? I kind of wish I saw.
Okay.
You know, I'm buying these things. We're just gonna go farm. We're just gonna play safe and farm. How are we?
We're just fucked. It's just super unfortunate.
I told him how bad. My badness translates through whatever character. I really don't. Oh, I miss Ram.
The rejuvenator is descending.
I don't even think I should be here because we need to get this lane. I can just send my zombies.
Okay, so they're for sure going green.
They're going to make a push.
So.
You know, you're right. Okay, we're gonna go defend green. We need to get all Rem memes into one place and send them to you. Yes, you should. I do quite love my little guy.
Alright, I'm gonna need y'all just to farm. I got almost 100 stacks. I'm shitting on these guys. You guys should just farm a little bit. At least get your builds up and running. We should be able to win this.
I'm confident, Bebop. I trust you.
Thank you, thank you. If you guys see a fight, just run. Don't even try and fight it. If you can do it, play under the walker. If you can do it,
Yeah,
defend the walker.
Go to green, Walker. If you have nowhere to go, go green.
I will strike them down. Green Walker is under attack.
In Bebop we trust. I shut the fuck up in that mirror moment. My brain was just like, in Bebop we trust, in Bebop we trust, in Bebop we trust.
Here's a line they're not going to want to cross.
Yes, Groves.
Don't get too overextended now. Remember to farm up, you know, play safe.
I need boxes, there's nothing.
Everybody, man. Everybody got to farm and win the game, you know?
Yeah, but that was already said, so.
I'm saying it again, brother.
Oh shit, oh shit. Lady guys. Oh, Geist.
Bone Ward.
I don't know if she can get out.
I see Paradox.
Oh, guy's dead.
You gotta try a lot harder than that.
Oh, the fucking Infernus line? That's so funny. I ain't anywhere near able.
The spirit urge
21.
to be claimed.
Most of us are lower than their entire team.
I'm coming, Green.
The dead demand justice.
Green is lost some so far.
Oh, which show is lost? What the fuck are they? Oh, are they still fighting? I don't even want to be here. Oh. Okay, so that should have not been that. Oh, Ricochet.
There's no escaping me.
What does it have a lot of? A lot of spirit. Okay. I've never really tried Warpstone. W solo. Well, he is right. We do got 3 donuts on the team. 3 donuts on the team. This is the first time I've ever played Gravestone in a full match. Hey, maybe we coming back. I don't think we're coming back. We're 48.
You need to make a stand and stop them.
I don't want to make a stand and stop them. I don't want to make a stance and stop them.
Time to cut loose.
Now I feel like oh my god. I would say in Bebop we trust, but in this moment, in Bebop we don't trust. In Bebop we go against. Bebop, we can do this. I don't think we can do this. They're almost... We got a lot of money from that. I really want a Ricochet. 65. I'll go for this for now. I need a farm up to get Ricochet.
Do we want to try to do an urn?
Spirit shot
Yeah.
here.
Get out of that, get out of that. Infernus will solo y'all, you guys.
Actually, I don't even know if we can.
Infernus, get me.
I'm coming mid.
Infernus very scary. Infernus coming.
Do your thing, boys. Stay away from me.
Infernus scary hell. I shouldn't be that scared. Oh, you fucking shitting me. Getting out of this, please. Get that shit up. Get that shit up now.
Victor, you've been popping your ult in that situation, we hope.
I don't know who he was talking about.
Blinding him is so good.
Ah, Rem.
Thanks for the tip, it's very helpful.
Oh, Drifter. Be dying.
Huge boys.
I can hear him, but I
I
can't
really
hear
do
him.
try.
Sorry. I think the switch up of everybody's lanes did good and bad. Because then me and Drifter both were struggling. But
yeah, Graves and Drifter uninstalled the game. Y'all fed this nigga Infernus. I don't know how you're 0-6 on Graves. Please don't.
I blame Rem.
That's what I like to see.
I told him from the beginning. I told him from the beginning. I'm bad. What do you mean you're bad? You're Graves, you can't be bad. I can be bad. I don't know what I'm doing. I also didn't know if I had a... Let's see. I don't know what the frick I'm listening to. Like, I know, but I don't.
Good luck.
Let's see. Because I didn't have a lot of money. I better... Oh. Okay.
I know a theater kid when I see one.
Not the I know a theater kid when I see one. That's
I
not
promise
bad.
I do whatever it takes.
I mean, this one's good. It's just the fact that I have never debuff build. Oh, that one might be good. Wow, she got her jars like that. Wait, I've never. Wait a minute. She got a jar like that. I didn't think she had a jar like that the whole time. What else we got? I am going to put my priorities back up for the other ones because I think that fucked me. I think that fucked me up so badly. Mayonnaise. If you want to play Spirit Graves, Miss Carrie, just max your jars first. Take Echo Shard after Heroic. Bad because counters with 1 melee. You can take Echo Shard faster if you want. Okay. Nothing. Nothing. Items in this category are... Oh, okay. Oh. Okay. What does question mark mean? I kind of like the mayonnaise jar one. Okay. What do you got? Default build at bottom? Oh. Do not sell split shot. Honestly, I feel like split shot is very crucial for Graves. Chongus. Late game. Rush. Ricochet. 1 top, 1 bottom. Okay. I don't know how golden goose egg. Damage penalty. I see. I've just never used golden egg. Burger box. Util, okay. That one's not bad. What is yours? Build. I really love. Nothing will beat my Rem one. Left to right. I mean, this one really isn't bad. This is the one I have, I think. Yeah. Mayonnaise. Some of them I see like the similar items. Spell and after. Ooh. How does that one work? Wait, hold on.
You're not gonna regret
Oh, that does apply to the skulls. But you have to collect the souls to get that. I think I kind of like mayonnaise. I will not lie. Let's see. Sell my hand. Okay. We're just gonna go ahead and purchase all these. I do like this. This goes for that. Okay. Hey, hold on. I want to pick what that goes to. Charge first and take Echo Shard after Heroic. Okay, so I want to rush Echo Shard. That wasn't even Echo Shard of which I clicked. Oh, I see. Max charge first. Echo Shard that. Refresher is quite nice. Any ifs, buts, who's... Ooh, Leech feels like it would be really good. Switch out with that. But then I feel like, I mean, split shot would still be really good, or ricochet. Sorry, I just started speaking a different language.
Shouldn't you be in class? I'm just
I just started speaking a different language for a second. Put that in there. Silencer probably is really good too. Yeah. I could bypass. Where's my favorite? Split shot and, well, I guess I would replace
Little bit of advice. Don't get caught.
Shift. Should I rather get that? Get that? Is that items? Thank you.
We make a good
That does a decent chunk. Oh, those do a lot.
You don't have what it takes to stop me.
So if I like... Oh. Where's my cooldowns?
Animating skulls.
They only last for so long, but I can have multiple out, so then if I go and then... Oh my god! Oh my god! I think I just murdered him!
Hit anyone who gets close. The bones will protect us. Cracking skulls.
Come over here, and then... A little touch. They fucking murder him. That's fucking crazy. I still would like to play Graves again. Oh, stop killing him, please.
You can't stop an advocate of the dead.
I don't have time.
Looks like I'm missing that job interview.
I mean, I won't lie, all of these are slightly priority. I don't think I'd be good at these two unless I have friends with me. So I have that wiggle room of if I'm doing bad, I can get help. I'm scared to ever play Mina again in a real game because of getting shamed a long time ago. I don't want to play Paradox right now. I can and I will. I just don't think I want to.
The sooner I stop the troubadour, the sooner I can go back home.
Well,
I'll put Graves. Now I'm like,
apply myself, so
I want to redeem myself as Graves. She said a lot of words there. I do want to kind of play Sinclair, but I think I'm bad at Sinclair. Well, feeling like I'm the only person who does dishes around here. It be that way sometimes. Dig like the shop. See, I hate this. Like, I know. Oh, I should just add Hayes.
I am the bright light.
Not the best at Hayes, but like, she is a good, like, just solid to have there. I feel like she's an M1, so Mamma mia. I think that's it. I kind of want to play Celeste. I mean, she's not the worst. I just don't want to be expected to do shit. Because I'm bad. I really want to change the stream title. I like Sad Victorian plays I almost said Deadlock. Deadlock. No skill. How do we call my No, we can't do that one. What could we do? What could I name this? What could I fucking name this? I love the people who are like #1 insert for me #1 Rem NA player. #1 trash player. Worst skills ever. But brick and Bella. Anyways, okay. That's it. Sorry, I had the compulsion to change the stream title. Anyways, we are going to queue up. Hopefully I get Rem. Alright, hopefully I'm with those people again, and then I can redeem myself. Who the fuck was I? Oh. I didn't know that was there. None of them gave me a fucking thumbs up. What if I... You, Char. Char's the meanest person around. Char hated my ass. Finished my speedrun of Resident Evil 4. How is that going? kind of want to crunch my hair out. I think it's fully dry. This is the worst time to do that because it's deadlock. But I'm going to. Hopefully I don't get. Oh, good, I did it. Good heavens, I'm glad I didn't. Can I open this? God. I don't know why I brought it all the way back here. I should have just, like, put it in my hand. Because I don't need a lot, but also I need to kind of, like, wash my hands afterwards. Second match? No. Oh, my hair is even gonna be crunched. Or not crunched. I sound awful. Like, okay. Oh, I got a match. Oh. Ram. Oh, Ram. My love. My love. I love Ram. I still have oil in my hand. I'm trying to rub it on my skin to, like, get off. The frantic slap. I like slapped my hand on my knee. Okay. Hey, so you know how I put worst, no skill, but brick and pillow? We're so goated now. We're so goated. My hair became so much fluffier, but like, good and bad because it has no form to it. It has all form to it, but at the same time it has no form to it because I just fluffed it up. Black Betty, bam, lamb. Black Betty had a child, bam, lamb. Nope, I'll never see those people again. Oh. Sure. I love Paige. Oh, not bursting for anymore. Oh, Shiv. And Abrams. I see why Mina didn't want to be here. Unless they also too switched. I kind of miss playing Graves, so that was fun. It's exhilarating when I get to play somebody else. I say as I willingly have my selection down to like... Hehehe, fuck you, you fuckers. Okay, hey, no one should let me speak. Ow, he stuck a knife into me.
Going to shop.
There was so much frickin' oil on my hand. I thought I had my pillow and I was gonna throw it, but I... Fuck. Fuck. Yeah. Okay, I got that one. That was quite rude of you. I missed half of my shots there. Silver. Silver, hit the balls. Silver, hit the balls, please. Okay.
I'm helpful.
She hit it that time. Fuck! I missed it! I missed it! I'm having a little bit too much fun. This is exhilarating. I love playing Rem so much. It's a little bit of a problem. Like, there's no point of anything else in this game. I just want to be Rem. And like, I love other characters. I love playing Paige. Ivy's pretty fun. Especially, I like my speed demon Ivy, but like, I think at this point right now, I need to actually find a different build for her. It's not bad, it's just... I think I want to try a new build. I'm just so used to just being speed. Ow! Oh, man! What's she at? Oh, her health's fine. My boxes. I love playing Rem. It's a problem. Oh well. Oh, okay, Silver. Just in there. Oh no, I just realized it's hey. No, it's not. Well, I guess it is Paige and Lizard. My little chudling there. Now I feel like I'm lying that I put the worst player but bricks in my pillow. Oh god, where's my car ride? My car ride's over here. I just need my car ride. Oh, you fucking dodged that fucking pillow. I don't think the pillow would have killed him. But he is really low. Oh, Silver. It's like Jordy's here. Who else is on this team? There are many selections for who Kodiak could be. I miss my friends.
Don't be a jerk.
I need a chudling.
Your mind and spirit will be reforged.
They do lots of things.
Oh my god, no. My costs have been better. Here I go, Silver. I say that as if I'm driving a car.
They took out Silver.
No. And I did hit him with everything I got, literally. Oh no, my chudling. That was a bad call by me. Oh, bridge buffs. Boom, boom. Okay, good.
Discerning taste.
So the last time I no, Silver! The last time I streamed this, I usually skip over Guardian Wars simply because I don't know, I just don't pick it. It's kind of stupid of me
I'm gonna try that out.
not to pick it, but like,
Bet.
I just don't want it. It's really good, I just don't want it. I want my brick. I want bricks.
Dormant has it.
Simply. Oh, I didn't know where those horses were going. Okay, they hurt Silver. They hurt Silver. Silver, I can't get up. I'm stupid.
Don't be a jerk.
That was simply actually a skill issue.
I know you'll help me.
Yeah. Ooh. Did I hit somebody's head? Oh, that's a man there. I'm hungry. Honestly, I might end stream after this one just because of my throat. I mean, it's doing a lot better. Every time I go to like gulp, it hurts like fucking hell. But you know, I can't say I'm not coughing because damn right I am coughing. That one Ebola. I always think she's saying throwing Ebola. And I'm like, that's not very good.
You shouldn't push me.
Whoa. Oh, my eyes are so dry. Shotgun. Ooh. Fuck, he's so close. Only two best guess. Oh. Did he miss? Or did he get it and just didn't kill her? I hope it's the... You're so low. Han Solo. Han Solo. That's a stupid fucking meme. Yeah. Oh, the Turnham event of like last match compared to this one. Are we? Oh, we're Hidden King. Okay. I'm underground. Oh.
I have friends. They help.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm doing drive-bys and stealing their shit. I don't know why I just like bitch slapped that.
Something really cool now.
Yes, I can. You are so right, little guy. No worries, bud. No worries, bud. No worries, bud. Oh my god. No worries, bud. Fuck you. I hit him in the ass. I shouldn't have done that. Sorry. The drop and everything was... Where's my silver? Eat them.
That's right.
It's the only thing I know how to say this game. Like, I have other things on the ping, but thanks seems to always work.
They've taken our yellow guardian.
I should spend my money. Where the... Can I... Am I okay? I'm having
the spirit urn is waiting to be claimed.
My shop's closed. Did I get that? I did. I didn't even realize they fully got it.
Our yellow walker is under attack.
We had the advantage. Hey, so they're coming back. Ow! You can't kill me. I have my friend. Oh my god. No! Our bags! Right next to each other. Hello? I don't know, Silver. What do you want me to say? Silver's actually talking to them. Anyways. See, I could easily skip over Guardian. I can't. I shouldn't. I shan't. Hey, so I didn't grab onto the wire. I in fact did not grab onto the wire there, and I just fucking leapt into the sky.
Great at shuffleboard.
I'm gonna go underground. I need to make back my money. They stole my fucking allowance, bro.
You earned the king's favor.
What are you staring at, Mochi? Oh, this is this is not the one I wanted to go down. Where the fuck do I get to it from here? I think it only pops out in mid-boss. Hi, Mochi. Can I help you? The last time you were here, you got mad at me because then I kicked you off. I shouldn't just leave Silver. Okay. Ma'am, is this where you're choosing?
I'm green.
Mochi has chosen to just lay underneath.
I like my pillow.
Sure. I'll let her have the rest of the boxes. I don't use this one too much. Oh, this is the tunnel. Okay, so I can get to it through that. Oh my god, it was my hair oil. I forgot that shit was there. Do they have anybody who can go into the tunnels? No. Somebody is fighting right above me though. So we're gonna go all the way over here and get some money. We're still doing okay. We just need to farm a little bit more. Okay, maybe we're doing a lot better.
The Hidden King gives freely.
You know.
Our Yellow Walker is under attack.
Aww. What are you gonna do? I try to really go back in there. Hell yeah. I wonder if we can get him. Yeah. Mochi's just staring at the fucking screen, dude.
I gotta go back to green.
What lane am I from? I'm from blue. Give you a little chuddling.
Who wants gun buff?
Hey. This is peaceful. This shouldn't be peaceful. I want murder. I feel like my hand placement is so wonky right now because my cat decided to join the party. You guys want a cat cam?
The spirit urn is waiting to be claimed.
I'm kind of just gonna do that. Oh, shutty. Jump in line. Footloose. Ain't a black, yeah.
Don't be a jerk.
I'm sure that's exactly what Rim listens to.
I see Shiv.
I really wanted to throw a solo pellet at this guy. Oh!
I see the door.
I was looking at Paige in the back. Why are they all congregating? Oh. We killed him. Okay, okay, this is good. Mina! Mina, ha. Oh. Okay, you know I dodged one of them. Little chumplings go. Can I steal anything from them? Do they have any belongings I can steal? Dude, I sound fucking awful. I can't fucking ban that bot. Shit. Oh, a man! Dynamo!
Thank you.
Oh! Dynamo saved my fucking ass, bro. I need to get back. Let me see a cat can. Bitch ass hoe. Maybe I gotta put the safe for work stream back up.
Great at shuffleboard.
Maybe we become family friendly stream again.
Let's take out Ace.
Whoa. Somebody went above my head. Dynamo, I'm coming.
Kind of a lot wearing blue. Shiv is here. Thunder is here.
I see the enemy.
I couldn't hear what he said. Okay, I'll leave. Damn. Ow. Ow, this really hurts. Viscous. Viscous, no. Oh, what happens?
A green walker is under attack.
Where are they? They're fighting over there. What's happening at green? I'm sorry. That's not Ivy.
3 green? Alright. We got green.
Okay.
They destroyed the walker on Greenwich.
Wham. Hello. What I do? I don't know. Fine, thank you for somehow noticing. What?
Thank you.
Animal, come here. Let me heal you. Oh, the gifted sub. I forgot you did do that earlier. I didn't want this song. Wham.
I see Abrams.
Yeah, this is fine. Oh, silver. I can't send like a ult across map like I used to be able to. Not as Rem, but just as, you know, Paige. Oh my god. Oh my god!
That was legit.
I have friends.
Viscous. Viscous have a scared. Scared? Scared. Oh my god. They're still buff. I hope Mina's okay. They're two very scary people. Sorry, Mochi. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that. I don't want to leave Viscous.
The spirit urn is waiting to be claimed.
What's Viscous at? Come here. Guess you're welcome. I assume it's the gifted sub. Who gifted them sub? Did I not remember?
Play with me.
No, Rem. No, I really don't want them to come out and play with us, okay? It's quite scary. Oh my god, Mochi is just like splayed out on my freaking desk, bro. What? I'm being a turret? Fuck you. Shit. Okay. Let's try not to disturb Mochi. Viscous, get out of there. Let's see. Oh, they're not awake. You know, that's fine.
Spirit Urn is here.
Gotta go. Oh.
Headed to green.
I will out everybody here. Did I? Okay.
I think they might.
Headed to York.
I can get yellow. You wanna go?
Oh. Viscous tried to help. Ah!
Okay.
Oh, I'm EP. No, not me! I love Viscous! Whoa! I can't fucking eat alive! Oh, I don't have a lot of items. Do that for now. want you to see this freaking cat. Like, look at her. That's Deadlock on my screen. Like, she's just there. Go guard blue. What's my money? I'm so poor.
From healing.
Oh. Frick you. I want that. Oh, that's a shiv. Oh my god, Mina. They really wanted Mina. Oh my god, she's almost dead! Okay, fine. I'll hit these guys. No. Are we gonna lose again?
Where'd my new friend go?
Ren, we don't want to find him, okay? Just so that she's guys, yeah. Oh, hell yeah, Viper.
Don't be a jerk.
I like have no space to play this game. I didn't mean to do that. Oh. Oh, I gave him one. I would like to go on a tunnel run. Oh, oh. It's not where. It's not the right tunnel I wanted, but that was also scary going over. I need to get over here. They're all compiling.
Here.
Damn, we're all here.
Soldiers here.
Nice.
Has been dropped.
Kill her. Get that.
Help me deliver this thing.
Oh. Okay.
Headed to York.
Biscuits.
Defend green.
Ow. Freaking hurt, bro.
Back to blue.
You didn't want that healing. It freaking hurt. What's my money at? Okay. Still would like some more money. Oh no, viscous. Okay. I'm a little chudling. No, 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 no. Stay focused.
Our yellow walker is under attack.
Save me.
What's happening? Oh, they killed somebody. What do we got? Oh, I forgot you guys can't see me. It's just on Mochi. Doop, doop, doop. No! Oh! Oh, Viscous!
Nice work.
I really tried to attach him, but then he went into that.
Ren's support is invaluable. valuable.
Yes! That's me.
They're great at shuffleboard.
I stole somebody's bag. I stole their fucking bag. Oh, we already took this walker? Oh, we did.
Adrian's over here, low HP.
What is a Viper doing? Fuck it up, girly. That one little candle holding out so strong. I got no like candle to like hit. What do I like? Oh!
Our yellow walker is under attack. Allow the hidden king to open your third eye.
Dynamo red. Dynamo. I'm just gonna close my eyes.
Also, hold on.
Thank you.
Hello. It's so far to the wrong side now. Where's he? Oh. Oh. I see him again. I need to move that now.
You're not nice. Move up.
Buffs, buffs, buffs.
I really the other one. Imagine. Well, gun rem with the gun buff probably would go hard. I can't even hit my control button, dude. My cat's fucking on it. I love her. Yes. Yes, double sinners.
Waiting to be claimed.
Oh, I just fucking hit my hand on my keyboard. How much money am I at? 32. What are they at? Okay, good. I should be able to stand my ground a little bit better. I say a little bit better. Here's wonderful. I forgot that's what's fucking.
The urn has been dropped.
Get out of your wonder wall. Fucking forgot. I want that. I want boundless. I want this. Oh my god, what's happening? Yellow!
York is under attack.
I'm not even gonna try to say that.
They've destroyed our yellow walker.
Soldiers here.
I get the fucking pipe.
There's a lot yellow all fucking me. So. Viper just go in there and win.
Oh no! I was just gonna sacrifice myself and then somebody showed up. Oh, you're fucking... Kill them! Oh. Oh, you're not who I wanted! Oh! My only way out! Anyways, let me fix the camera at the same time. My only, like, way out fucking died. I did kind of bring her into that fight. But I didn't want them to get earned. What are we at? We're still ahead of them. I denied. Stormman?
No, I don't think it does. I think he'd still be able to.
That's kind of crazy. Unstoppable, but you still can be stopped by a doorman. He's quite scary.
No, they're not. Never mind.
Dude, I don't want any of these fucking songs. Fucking. I don't think I can skip this song. I'm skipping it. Closing time. Also good. Shit, what's happening there? Ow!
I'm in boss, I'm in boss.
We're a team. You make me feel safe.
Come.
Where am I?
I see ships.
The rejuvenator is descending.
Okay, I don't think I needed to sleep him.
I don't know what he was thinking.
I don't think Nickelback does fuck.
You have been making every black hole count.
I don't think I needed to hold him. I just didn't know how many people were there. I could have looked at the map, but I was so scared. I'm not even fully upgraded. We're healing. Oh, we're just gonna win. Hello.
GG.
Well played. Good game.
That was good. That was good. Okay, Mochi. Is that really the comfiest place for you to be? That's crazy.
God, I should have put money on this thing.
Damn, Viper fucked it up. I should stop playing. I am gonna end stream too, just so I can give my voice a rest. It's not the worst. It's just not the best. Yeah, that sounds still the same. Because it's getting warm in my fucking room, so I need to cool off. I sleep till Port on the Bayou. I do love that song. Take it, take me home. I do love break stuff. We'll leave it on this song. I gotta figure out what to do with stream. We want to grow here. I did, to the beginning, I did finish the one edit, so I need to post that. I need to actually just start posting content, but I also want to post on my other TikTok, but I haven't done that either. I also would like to post on Instagram again. I haven't done that in years. Haven't done that in fucking years. I would like to be active in the universe again, is what I am saying. And that's crazy. Except also I crave to be active in the universe so much that I wish to go outside and do other things, and that means I don't stream. But also that means I have to go outside, and there's no one else willing to go outside at the same time as me because everybody's in school. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna end stream. We have stream tomorrow. I don't think I'm gonna play Revelations, so I think I'm just gonna stream whatever. Except I don't know what, so we might see. What I on that? Sorry, my friend's making me in Tomodachi. I'm so happy. Anyways, be safe, everybody. You can say bye to Mochi. Okay, shit, maybe you can. Sorry, I did that too fast. There's Mochi. She looks so tired of life, bro. Like, bro, what the hell? All she's been doing is sleeping. Me too. Me, literally the past while. I don't know. Anyways. Where's the button? Let me get rid of that. I'm gonna say bye-bye from here. And thank you for all joining. It's very weird vibes of like me now trying to figure out, okay, what's the motivation? How can I switch everything up here? Mochi, they say goodbye to you too. She was eating her toe jam. I would like you to know. And now she's growling at me. Anyways, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay, Mochi. Okay, we're ending Mochi. It's okay. I'll see y'all tomorrow. that's about it. Other than that, have a good rest of your day. Stay safe. We're just gonna play this song because I know what the song is. No, we're gonna play this song. Anyways, I love y'all. See you all tomorrow. Bye bye.